Part 39. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 382. After acquiring the 22,700 square meters of land in Xinjiang City, Li Zhe immediately held an all-staff meeting to announce the matter. To unite and strive for common development, the first step of the employee housing allocation plan has been implemented. The group has obtained a 22,700 square meter land in Xinjiang City. As soon as the news was announced, the venue of more than 1,000 people immediately went into shock. Li Zhe announced the housing allocation plan a month ago, but said that he would acquire land and build a new employee community in the next 2 years. After hearing the news, the employees had some expectations, but most of them felt that the company was trying to make a fool of themselves. But now Li Zhe suddenly announced that the company had obtained the land in advance. If the company was just making pictures before, then this time it is definitely serious. Especially since the company got the land in New Jiangguan City. Xinjiang City is an urban area in Shanghai, only half an hour's drive from the company. Currently, the new buildings are all high-end residential areas and villas, and it is an emerging wealthy area. The company is actually willing to use such good land to build welfare housing for employees. They used to think that unity, hard work, and common development was just a slogan, but now they have a sense of identity in their hearts. Li Zhe pressed it with his hand, and after the venue quieted down, he continued, "Next, the group will advance to the second step, planning the land, and then officially start construction. The housing area standard is 70-89 square meters for ordinary employees, small improved housing, and 120-149 square meters for management, large comfortable housing." As his words fell, thunderous applause erupted in the venue, and everyone was very excited. Nowadays, houses have not gotten bigger and bigger like in later generations. Even the lowest house of 70 square meters is basically enough for many ordinary employees. If you can own a house in a wealthy area like Xinjiang City, not only will your dream of owning a house in Shanghai come true, but you will also be very proud to tell the truth. Looking at the excited employees in the audience, Li Zhe smiled inwardly. They were a little too excited because this house was not so easy to get. The early planning will take more than a year. He will not rush the construction and give Dai Zongheng a chance to do something dirty. To start construction, we have to wait until Shenyang Real Estate goes bankrupt and Dai Zongheng runs away. It will take 3 or 4 years until the house is built and ready for move-in. In addition, the room allocation standards are also very high, and favors that are too easy to obtain are not valuable. Li Zhe stretched out his hand and pressed it again, making the venue quiet again. Kudong Group is mine and everyone's. Unity, hard work, and common development are not just a slogan. The group continues to grow and develop with the joint efforts of everyone, and everyone has the right to enjoy the dividends of the company's development. We can't say that I and the management drive luxury cars and live in luxury houses, but ordinary employees can't even afford a house. We want to develop and prosper together. House sharing plan, employee stock ownership, high salary, and benefits are all development dividends shared by the group with everyone. All successful people are good actors, and those who cannot act will not be successful. Although Li Zhejian has acted in one drama, he thinks he is still incomparable to those veteran actors who have been tempered in life. However, he will work harder and strive to become a young and veteran actor as soon as possible. Li Zhe is naturally performing and singing a high-profile song. Kudong Group can only belong to him and cannot belong to anyone else. But it does not prevent us from saying this to increase employees' sense of belonging to the company. Besides, the entrepreneurial spirit of unity, hard work, and common development he proposed is not completely deceptive. Li Zhe is really ready to let employees enjoy the dividends of the company's development and stimulate their work motivation. At least when he eats meat, he also lets his employees drink a bowl of broth mixed with water. If a large enterprise wants to develop in the long term, it must be dynamic. The greater the cohesiveness and enthusiasm of an enterprise's employees, the more dynamic the enterprise will be. In fact, corporate leaders all know the importance of bottom-level capabilities, but they deliberately ignore this. Why is this? Because the cake is so big, if you give more benefits to the bottom, they will get less. Who is willing to give up their own benefits? Just like those gentry in ancient times, they evaded taxes and did not pay taxes. They shouted not to compete with them for profits, competed with the people, but they squeezed the people at the bottom to death. Don't they know that the government is forcing the people to rebel? They know everything, but they are greedy for profit. History is a cycle. It often goes around for a while and then comes back again. But Li Jie is different. Kudong Group belongs completely to him, at least for now. Therefore, he must benefit ordinary employees, maintain his own prestige, win the trust of employees, and control the management well. The management is just a tool in his hands and cannot be held back by Tai. After Li Jie finished speaking, the venue burst into thunderous applause, and some employees even clapped their hands red. No one is a fool, and employees all know whether the company is good or bad. Housing allocation plan, employee shareholding dividends, high salary and high benefits, they have indeed enjoyed the dividends of the company's development. For such a good company, most employees will have a sense of belonging and identification. After the applause died down, Li Jie announced one last thing. The group has achieved good results this year. During the Chinese New Year, he will spend 10 million out of his own pocket to give out red envelopes to everyone. As soon as he finished speaking, the applause that had just fallen down started thundering again. People can't value money too little, otherwise they will suffer big losses. Similarly, they can't value money too much, and they are greedy for profit. Just like those internet celebrities in later generations, whose annual income is tens of millions, or even more than 10 or 2 billion. They earn an income that ordinary people cannot earn in tens of thousands of years, but they are still greedy and evade taxes. This is typical greed. In Li Jie's view, too much money is just a bunch of numbers because you simply can't spend it all. At this stage, he must know how to give up money, and cannot be kidnapped by money and become profit-seeking and greedy. Be willing to give up, only by giving up can you gain. The desire for profit will cloud the heart, and profit will make the mind dim, and you will suffer bad consequences. To him, 10 million is just a matter of a luxury car. But for the more than 1,000 ordinary employees of Kudong Group, each of them can receive 6,000 to 7,000 yuan. This money is enough for them to spend a richer spring festival, feel proud in front of relatives and friends, and be proud to work at Kudong Group. This makes more sense than buying an extra sports car and letting it sit in the garage gathering dust. What's more, if the company's reputation improve, it will be easier to attract talents. After this meeting, Li Jie could clearly feel that employees were more motivated and more enthusiastic about work. Some people even take the initiative to work overtime. Of course, the reason why employees work so hard is also related to the implementation of the housing allocation plan. No one wants to perform poorly and lose the opportunity to be assigned a room. On October 16, Qwen Technology's first self-made 3D online game Magic Coming was finally launched after a year of production. After the game was launched, the results were pretty good. On the first day of launch, the number of people online at the same time was close to 200,000. Within a week of launch, the number of registered users exceeded 1 million. Although it cannot be compared with Ion, the game is undoubtedly successful, and Qwen Technology has another revenue-generating game. At the end of October, a group of interns came to Kudong Group. There are 200 to 300 interns in this group, and most of them are junior interns recruited from major universities in Shanghai. There are also 60 or 70 people from Hongqian Normal University. Of these 60 or 70 people, more than 40 were recruited through formal procedures, while the remaining less than 30 were recruited through connections. Li Zhe's roommates, He's Higang, Yang Hao, and Lin Jing, all came. Wang Zhaiheng didn't come. He had connections in his family and returned to northeast China for an internship. Cheng Xiang, who had a good relationship with him, didn't come either, and he didn't have any connections with any of the natives in the capital. Actually, Li Zhe didn't quite understand why Cheng Xiang came to Hongcheng. He, a native of the capital, rarely went out of the capital to go to school. After all, what the capital lacked the most was colleges and universities. Xiao Jiao's roommates, Bai Wei, Zhang Qian, Zhang Yu, Lu Li, and Shen Man are all here. As for Lu Kaiu, there were 7 or 8 people who came in through her connections. She has very good staff at school and has many friends. Roommates He Nai, Ruangqian Ru, classmate Chen Mengting, etc. As for Shen Xinyi, she also arranged for Zheng Jiaying and several roommates and classmates with whom she had good relationships to join the company. Zheng Jiaying is the little spy that Li Zhe bribed. In addition, Zhou Ziu's roommates at the normal college, Huo Lili, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Ziona, Chen Wenjing, and Tan Hui also came. Huo Lili, Cao Xiaoqian, and Song Ziona are related to Zhou Ziu. Chen Wenjing was found by Li Zhe, his boyfriend Lin Jing. As for Tan Hui, she had no connections with anyone and was recruited through the formal process. The positions assigned to these people who came in through connections are not bad. It's just a short-term internship anyway, so it doesn't matter if you take more care of me. Li Zhe also arranged Bai Wei to the president's office. He arranged Bai Wei by his side, not because he wanted to see her wearing secretary clothes or black stockings, but because she was Xiao Jiao's best friend and he had to take special care of her. Besides, Bai Wei is indeed very capable. The previous game promotion and promoter team, as well as the current short video shooting team, are all managed in an orderly manner by her. Li Zhe is going to train her well, maybe she can become his capable general in the future. It is also worth mentioning that Huo Menjian was also transferred to the president's office by Li Zhe. After Huo Menjian signed a contract with Cuckoo Entertainment, her development was not good. The company's vice president Zhang Jingxian was more optimistic about Wang Zhaining and Zhao Yahuan than her. After filming uncensored, she never received any decent resources. Even small roles that come on as walk-ons are rarely picked up. After a year like this, Huo Menjian gave up on being an actress. She contacted Li Zhe through Bai Wei and said she wanted to terminate her contract with the company. After Li Zhe learned about Huo Menjian's situation, he agreed and transferred her to the president's office. This can be regarded as compensation. After all, when persuading Sun Wanning to star in online dating, he promised her, Sun Wanning and Luan Xiaolin that he would train them, but he failed to do so. However, he also understood Zhang Jingxian's behavior. Huo Menjian's personality was indeed not suitable for the entertainment industry. Pudong New Area, in an old community 15 or 6 minutes drive from Kudong Group. Cao Xiaoqian, Song Ziona, and Tan Hui were busy packing their things. The rent in Shanghai is too expensive. For an old unit building in a remote area like this, 2 bedrooms and 1 living room cost 1,800 yuan a month. Add in water, electricity, and gas bills, and it costs 2,000 yuan a month. Huo Lili, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Ziona, and Tan Hui share the same apartment. On average, each person costs 500 yuan a month. Their internship salary is only over 1,000 yuan, which is less than half a month's salary in rent. As for Chen Wenjing, she did not live with the 4 of them. Instead, she and her boyfriend Lin Jing rented a unit with 1 bedroom and 1 living room in another building in this old community. In fact, 20 to 30 students from Hongcheng Normal University who came to Kudong Group for internship live in several old communities in this area. This kind of unit building from the 1980s and 1990s has narrow and dilapidated corridors. Fortunately, the landlord simply renovated the house for rent, and it looks pretty good. Cao Xiaojian, Song Ziona, and Tan Hui cleaned up all the garbage left by the previous tenant, and then started wiping everywhere with rags. Lily, where did she go? Why did she disappear as soon as she started working? Song Ziona said while wiping the TV and TV cabinet. The TV is still the old color TV from the last century. She answered the phone and went out. Cao Xiaojian packed the garbage into a bag and prepared to take it out and throw it away later. At this moment, Huo Lily ran in from outside and said with a smile, "Sisters, who do you see coming? Who's here?" As soon as Cao Xiaojian finished speaking, she saw Zhou walking in calmly. Behind her were two tomboy-like, very strong girls. The moment they saw Zhou, she and Song Ziona couldn't help but froze for a moment. "Ziu, you have become beautiful again." Song Ziona looked at Zhou up and down and couldn't help but sigh. Cao Xiaojian nodded in agreement. Although Zhou was very beautiful in the past, compared with her now, she was still inferior. Now she is elegant, sexy, and charming, making people feel ashamed of themselves. More importantly, she exuded a sense of femininity in every move she made, and her temperament was so good. If they hadn't known that Zhou came from an ordinary family, they would have thought she was the daughter of a wealthy family. Huo Lily smiled and said, "You also think Xuyu has become more beautiful, right? I was stunned when I first saw her." Xiaojian, Ziona, Zhou smiled lightly and said hello to Cao Xiaojian and Song Ziona. When she smiles, her expression is still a bit unnatural, which ruins the beauty a bit. All I can say is that no one is perfect. In this regard, she is no match for Xiaojiao. Xiaojiao's smile is the cutest, most beautiful, contagious, and touching. "Xuyu, we haven't seen you for a long time." "Yeah, long time no see." Cao Xiaojian and Song Ziona stepped forward to hold her, very excited and happy. They haven't seen each other for almost a year since Zhou came to Hongchen Normal University for a book signing last year. "Xuyu, who are they?" Song Ziona looked at Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi behind Zhou. Before Zhou could speak, Huo Lily said first, "They are all Zhu's bodyguards." "Bodyguard?" After hearing this, Song Ziona and Cao Xiaojian looked at each other. There were even two bodyguards. The scene was not ordinary. At this time, Zhou suddenly looked in the direction of the bedroom, chuckled and said, "Zia, why?" It turned out to be Tan Hui who was cleaning the bedroom and came out when she heard the noise. Tsuyu Tan Hui also smiled and nodded lightly. When did they reconcile? Seeing this scene, Huo Lily, Cao Xiaojian, and Song Ziona looked at each other, all surprised. "You know, they almost had a fight because of Li Jie. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanjie. Chapter 383. When did Zhou and Tan Hui reconcile? There was no reconciliation between them at all. It's just that both of them are smart people, they can afford to take things and let them go, and they won't dwell on the past. "Where's Wenjing?" Zhou turned to ask Huo Lily. "Wenjing and her boyfriend live together in this community," Huo Lily explained. "Call Wenjing and let's have dinner together in our dormitory." "Good." Huo Lily took out her mobile phone and called Chen Wenjing. After putting down the phone, she said, "Wenjing said she would be here soon." "Let's finish the cleaning," Tan Hui said. Cao Xiaojian and Song Ziona listened and nodded. "How about I help you?" Zhou said. No, no, no." Cao Xiaojian and Song Ziona quickly declined. How could Zhou's beautiful outfit be suitable for work? Huo Lily also said, "Ziu, I don't need you anymore, the four of us are enough." The four of them continued to clean, while Zhou, Lu Ji, and Lu Yingqi were watching. After a while, When they were almost done cleaning, Huo Lily's cell phone rang and Chen Wenjing was already downstairs. So, Huo Lily and the other four washed their hands, changed their clothes, and went downstairs with Zhou Ziyu, Lu Ji, and Lu Yingqi. When I came downstairs, I saw Chen Wenjing standing at the door of the building. Chen Wenjing couldn't help but be stunned for a moment when she saw Zhou Ziyu becoming more and more charming. Zhou Ziyu greeted, "Everyone, get in the car." She drove a Porsche 911 over, and Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi also drove a 7-seat Cadillac SUV, which could accommodate 8 people. Looking at the blue convertible Porsche 911 Carrera, Huo Lily said with envy, "Tsuyu, have you changed cars again?" She found that Zhou Ziyu's car was getting better and better. Cao Xiaoqian and Song Xiona were also envious. Even the bodyguards drive Cadillacs, and the arrangement is too long. Only Tan Hui and Chen Wenjing looked unchanged. Zhou Ziyu smiled and said, "Get in the car." Huo Lily and Zhou Ziyu got into the Porsche 911 together. Cao Xiaoqian, Song Xiona, Chen Wenjing, and Tan Hui got into the Cadillac SUV together with Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi. Porsche and Cadillac drove away from this old neighborhood one after another. Huo Lily looked at the scenery outside the car and sighed, "Shanghai is so big and prosperous. It would be great if I could work here after graduation." Zhou Ziyu drove the car and did not answer the call. Whether she can join Kudong Group depends on Huo Lily's internship performance. If her performance is not good, she will not help even if the relationship between the two is good. More than 30 minutes later, they arrived in Changning District. 2 cars drove into the Zijiao Hotel one after another and stopped in front of building number 7. The environment here is extremely quiet. There are rock areas and fountains at the door. There are lush trees and various flowers and plants everywhere, giving it a feeling of paradise. Zhou Ziyu, Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Xiona, and Tan Hui got out of the car one after another. Huo Lily looked around as if she had never seen the market before. "Tsuyu, this hotel is too big and too nice, isn't it?" After entering from the main gate, we have driven almost 2 or 3 miles, with tree-lined avenues, green grass, small bridges, and flowing water, birds singing and flowers fragrant. What you see is like a paradise. She felt that if she came alone, she would definitely get lost. Cao Xiaoqian and Song Xiona were not much better, and they looked like they had never seen the market before. "I have never seen a restaurant with such a nice environment," Cao Xiaoqian said. Song Xiona listened and nodded in agreement. Just now they saw rare animals such as black swans and peacocks, as well as various ancient trees, exotic flowers, and plants, just like a royal garden. It's no wonder that the environment is not good. Zijiao Hotel used to be called 414 Guest House, which was specially used to entertain national leaders and foreign guests. It was only open to the outside world after 1979. Huo Lily said again, "Ziyu, this hotel must be very expensive, right?" Zhou Ziyu smiled lightly and said, "It's not expensive. We have a buffet today, 178 per person." Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, and Song Xiona were a little surprised when they heard this. The buffet at 178 is quite expensive in this era, but compared to this environment, it doesn't seem too expensive. Zhou Ziyu took them into Building 7 and came to the Peony Hall cafeteria on the 2nd floor. It was not yet 12 o'clock, the buffet had just opened, and there were not many people in the restaurant. When I saw Zhou Ziyu, Huo Lily, Tan Hui, and a group of girls coming in, I subconsciously took a second look. Seeing Zhou Ziyu, everyone was amazed. "This environment is very good," Huo Lily couldn't help but say. "The restaurant is huge, bright, clean, and magnificently decorated." Zhou Ziyu said, "Let's go choose a meal." The 8 people came to the buffet, took their plates and started choosing their meals. The buffet menu is average, not too many, including cold dishes, barbecue, seafood, etc., as well as hot stir-fried dishes, pastries, fruits, etc. There are also drinks, coffee, ice cream, etc. There are not many types of dishes, but they are fresh and taste okay. When I come here to eat, the main thing I enjoy is the environment and service. The waiters are very friendly. Cao Xiaoqian and Song Ziona chose a lot of seafood, especially hairy crabs. Huo Lily chose a lot of desserts, including arjandas. Zhou Ziyu, Chen Wenjing, and Tan Hui also selected some dishes according to their own preferences. After choosing their meal, they found a seat by the window and sat down, eating and reminiscing. Zhou Ziyu, Chen Wenjing, and Tan Hui didn't talk much. Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, and Song Ziona were mainly talking. In particular, Huo Lily was the liveliest and talkative. She told Zhou Ziyu a lot about what happened in school after she transferred. "Hello, beauties," suddenly a boy came over. The boy looks to be about 20 years old, tall, and handsome. Although he was talking to the six of them together, his eyes were looking at Zhou Ziyu with a sunny smile on his face. Zhou Ziyu glanced at the other party and said nothing. The boy continued, "You are students too, right? My name is Tong Chinja from the University of Finance and Economics." Zhou Ziyu still didn't speak, but Huo Lily answered, "Hello, classmate Tong, we are students, but not students from Shanghai universities." The boy was a little surprised when he heard this, smiled and said, "That's right, then you guys are from Shanghai." "Classmate Tong, are you okay?" Cao Xiaoqian said in a playful tone. "It's something. I made a bet with my friend. If I can get your contact information, my friend will treat me to dinner." The boy said, turned around, glanced not far away, and saw two boys sitting together looking over here. "Why should we help you? There are 5 of us." "Whose phone number do you want?" Song Ziona said with a smile. "Just like boys like to flirt with pretty girls, girls also like to flirt with handsome guys. You beauties are so kind-hearted and must be willing to help others. Please, just add me on QQ. If you don't like adding strangers, you can delete me later." The soft-spoken words of the boy and the fact that he is handsome make it difficult for most girls to refuse. After a pause, he looked at Zhou Ziyu, "Beauty, can you do me a favor?" Seeing that he indeed asked for Zhou Ziyu's contact information, Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, and Song Ziona couldn't help but laugh. Huo Lily smiled and said, "Ziyu." However, she was interrupted as soon as she opened her mouth. Lu Ji, who was sitting at the back table, stood up and said to the boy very rudely, "Sorry, my cousin already has a boyfriend." The boy looked at Lu Ji, who had short hair, dark skin, and looked like a tomboy, and was stunned for a moment. "She is the cousin of the beautiful woman named Tsuyu? Are these cousins too different? Don't get me wrong, I don't mean anything else, it's just a bet. Don't you just want contact information? No problem, I can give you my phone number." Lu Yingqi also stood up. Looking at Lu Yingqi, who is stronger, darker, and more like a man than Lu Ji, the smile on the boy's face can't be maintained. Lu Yingqi sneered, and then said, "Why, you think I'm not good looking and you dislike me, right?" "No, no, I didn't mean that," the boy quickly defended. "Then let's exchange phone numbers." The boy was forced to exchange mobile phone numbers with Lu Yingqi reluctantly. After exchanging mobile phone numbers, Lu Yingqi stared at the boy and asked, "Do you have a girlfriend?" The boy panicked when she stared at him. "I have a girlfriend." "You have a girlfriend, and you still come to chat with girls under the guise of being a scumbag," Lu Yingqi said with contempt in his eyes. The boy's face suddenly became very ugly, as if he wanted to have a seizure, but he still endured it. "I said, it's just a bet, you misunderstood." After saying that, he left. Lu Yingqi and Lu Ji looked at each other, smiled, and sat down again. They didn't know how many times they had helped Josiah get rid of flies like this boy who used pretense or directly struck up conversations. Song Ziona glanced at Josiah and said with a smile, "Ziu, you are so charming." They all could see that this boy was here for Josiah. Huo Lily looked away from the boy. "This boy is really good. He is tall and handsome. He is also a top student at the University of Finance and Economics. Shanghai University of Finance and Economics is a 211, the best university in finance and economics." "What, Lily, are you attracted to her?" Cao Xiaoqian joked. "Lily, Sister Yinky has that handsome guy's phone number," Song Ziona also said with a smile. "What are you two talking about?" "I didn't mean that." Huo Lily was a little embarrassed by the teasing between them. Josiah looked at the scene and smiled softly. Suddenly, she felt the gaze, turned her head, and her eyes met Tan Hui's. Tan Hui's eyes were calm and without any emotion. Josiah looked away and smiled inwardly. Although Tan Hui pretended to be calm, she could feel that the other party must be regretting it. Besides, if she really gave up, why would she come to Kudong Group for an internship? However, what's the use of regret? Talking and laughing, time flies by. When the food was almost done, Josiah, Huo Lily and the others paid the bill. Josiah wanted to treat him to a treat, but Huo Lily and the others refused to let him go. They still went their separate ways. The waiter enthusiastically sent them to the door. After coming out of the restaurant, Huo Lily let out a breath, touched her stomach and said, "I'm a little full from eating." In order not to let the 178 yuan go to waste, she ate a lot. She ate 4 portions of Häagen-Dazs and tried all 4 flavors. In fact, it wasn't just her, Cao Xiaoqian and Song Ziona were also a little stuffed. The buffet is like this. If you eat less, you always feel like you are at a loss. Josiah said, "Let's take a walk and have a look." Huo Lily and the others listened and agreed. The 8 of us walked around together and enjoyed the beautiful scenery of the garden. Huo Lily and Tan Hui were impressed by the beautiful scenery of lush trees, flowers, and plants, clear lake water, light bridges, quiet forest paths, lush greenery, birds chirping and frogs chirping. Josiah, Luji, Lu Yinky, and others often come here to eat and take walks, but they have become accustomed to the beautiful scenery here. After walking around for more than 40 minutes, it was almost 2 p.m. Josiah said to Huo Lily and the others, "Lily, come and sit at my place." Luji and Lu Yinky drove over, and the 6 of them got in the car and left the Zijiao Hotel. Seeing that just after leaving the Zijiao Hotel, Josiah drove a Porsche into an extremely high-end villa community next door. Huo Lily couldn't help but said in surprise, "Tsuyu, you live next to the hotel? This location, that's great too." Soon, the Porsche 911 and Cadillac SUV stopped in front of the Florentine-style villa. Huo Lily and the others got out of the car and looked at the villa and the surrounding environment. "This villa is so beautiful, Ziu, are you going to live here?" Cao Xiaoqian sighed. "The environment here is also very good. It feels no worse than that hotel." Song Ziona looked around and said. "How can a villa like this in Shanghai cost tens of millions?" Huo Lily looked at Josiah with questioning eyes. Josiah smiled and did not answer. "Let's go into the house," she said, opening the door and walking in first. Huo Lily and the others also followed in. As soon as they entered the villa, they were shocked. Tan Hui, who had always remained calm, was stunned for a moment, showing shock. "Ziu, your villa is too luxurious," Huo Lily's tone revealed shock. Cao Xiaoqian and Song Ziona also nodded. This was the first time they had seen such a luxurious villa. It had an aura of luxury everywhere, just like a palace. "Let me show you around," Josiah said with a smile. It is human nature to be competitive and show off, even if you are as smart as Josiah. Huo Lily and the others followed Josiah around, and the more they looked, the more shocked they became. They finally saw how luxurious the rich were. "Ziu, how much did you spend on this villa?" Lily couldn't help but ask. She knew that what she had just thought was a bit ridiculous. Such a luxurious villa, let alone the Shanghai market, may not be available even if it costs tens of millions in Hongcheng. "It didn't cost much," Zhou Ziu said with a smile. Tan Hui put down her mobile phone and suddenly said, 150 million, not counting decoration. She tried searching on her phone and found information about this villa. 150 million, not counting decoration? Lily and the others were a little in disbelief after hearing this, and looked at Zhou Ziu with questioning eyes. They guessed that this villa would be expensive, but they didn't expect it to be such a sky-high price. Zhou Ziu glanced at Tan Hui and said with a smile, 150 million is just the development company's external quotation. It's actually not that expensive. How much is that? Lily couldn't help asking. 125 million, Zhou Ziu said calmly. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 384. 125 million? Lily and the others were all attracted by Zhou Ziu's Versailles. They looked at each other and didn't know what to say. There is no difference between 150 million and 125 million for them, both are sky-high prices. A house costs 1 to 200 million, and they have finally seen how luxurious the lives of rich people really are. Tan Hui looked at Zhou Ziu and asked meaningfully, this villa is big enough and has many rooms. It should be okay to accommodate 5 or 6 people, right? She really couldn't stand the other parties showing off. Wasn't she just clinging to Li Jie shamelessly? What could a mistress be proud of? No matter how expensive this villa is, it still belongs to Li Jie. How does it have anything to do with you, the mistress? Zhou Ziu smiled casually after hearing this. She heard the sarcasm in the other person's words, but so what? Not everyone is qualified to be Li Jie's lover. It can only accommodate 5 people at most. No more can be accommodated. She also said it meaningfully. Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Xiona, and Chen Wenjing had an idea in their minds at the same time. Fighting again? It seems that they have not reconciled. After visiting the villa, everyone returned to the living room on the first floor. Zhou Ziu asked Lu Ji and Lu Yingqi to bring a lot of imported snacks, high-end dried fruits, and the big tea table was filled with them. And also opened a bottle of high-end red wine. Huo Lily looked at the dazzling array of snacks on the coffee table, her eyes shone, and she subconsciously licked her lips. So many snacks. Ziu, are you too happy? She likes snacks the most, but she has never seen these high-end snacks before, let alone eating them. Song Xiona picked up a bag of strawberry wafer cakes, opened it and tasted it, and couldn't help but say, it tastes really good. The taste of Western-style pastries and snacks at the buffet is completely incomparable to this one. She looked at the product description and saw that it was imported from the United Arab Emirates. Huo Lily also picked up a bag of snacks and ate them. Yeah, it's really delicious. Ziu, I envy you so much. There are so many delicious snacks, you can eat them whenever you want. After a pause, she sighed and said, it's great to have money. Zhou Ziu smiled after hearing this. Seeing that Cao Xiaoqian, Lin Wenjing, and Tan Hui were not taking action, she greeted, Xiaoqian, Wenjing, and Ziawai, you're welcome, just treat it as if it's your own family. In fact, although Li Jie prepared so many delicious snacks at home, Zhou Ziu rarely eats them. She is extremely concerned about her weight and has strict dietary requirements. She has always controlled her weight at around 100 pounds. Zhou Ziu only weighed about 95 pounds before. Li Jie said that she felt a little uncomfortable, so she gained 5 pounds. In fact, compared to the height of 167.8 centimeters, bare feet, 100 pounds is still a bit thin, but I look good in clothes and have a decent hanger. Shenzhenyi's favorite snack is that she is torn between losing weight and enjoying the freedom of snacking almost every day. After struggling over and over again, the result was that she gained 3 or 4 kilograms, more than 98 kilograms, and her weight was almost over 100. And her height is only 162, 163, bare feet. One night, Li Zhe noticed that her little face was getting rounder, so he pinched her voluptuous cheeks and teased her. Feeling severely humiliated, Shenzhenyi made up his mind to never touch snacks, dried fruits, or ice cream again. But she only lasted one night and took it again the next day. How could she, a foodie, give up snacks? Zhou turned on the 70-inch LED LCD TV and chose a movie called The Wind. Everyone drank red wine and ate snacks while watching a movie. Looking at the big TV that was 1.5 meters long and half a person tall, enjoying red wine and delicious snacks, Huo Lily and the others couldn't help but secretly sigh, it's better to have money. In their dilapidated rental house, there was only an old color TV from the last century. After a while, Lu Ji brought some more blueberry ice cream. Huo Lily said unexpectedly, Ziu, can you still make ice cream at home? This ice cream is obviously freshly made. Zhou Ziu said with a smile, Li Jie recently bought an imported ice cream machine. Lily, try it. The ice cream tastes pretty good. Huo Lily took a piece of ice cream first, took a bite, and her eyes suddenly lit up, this is too delicious. It was even more delicious than the Häagen-Dazs she had tasted at the buffet. In fact, it's not that Häagen-Dazs is not delicious, but that the self-service Häagen-Dazs is not authentic. How can you really eat a small portion of Häagen-Dazs for more than 30 yuan at the 178 buffet? Not only Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Xiona, and Chen Wenjing also praised the taste of the ice cream. Only Tan Hui sipped her ice cream and remained silent. After eating 2 portions of ice cream, Huo Lily was still a little unsatisfied. Noticing that the ice cream in front of Zhou Ziu had melted a little, she couldn't help but said, Ziu, why don't you eat it? Zhou Ziu brought the ice cream to Huo Lily and said, Lily, you can eat it, I don't really want to eat it. She rarely eats snacks, but she occasionally eats ice cream, and she has long been tired of it. The plot of The Wind is quite tense and exciting, especially every time there is a cruel torture scene. Huo Lily and the others would avert their eyes and couldn't bear to watch it. This little devil is too cruel and inhuman. Zhou Ziu listened and shook his head in his heart, what is this? The movie has been much better. I don't know if reality would be many times crueler than this, and for women, life would be worse than death. At this moment, the roar of a sports car suddenly came from outside, and a red Porsche 911 and a BMW X3 SUV were seen driving in one after the other and parked in front of the villa. The car doors opened one after another, and Xiao Qiao, Bai Wei, their dormitory Zhang Qian, Zhang Yu, Lu Li, Shen Man and the bodyguard responsible for driving all got out of the 2 cars. Xiao Qiao also went to a party with her roommates who came for internship today. They had just finished eating outside. She pushed open the door of the villa and brought Bai Wei, Zhang Qian, and the others in. When she saw that the living room was occupied by Zhou Ziu and her roommates, her face suddenly became a little ugly. This Zhou Fox is really trying to grab everything from her. Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziu stood up with a smile. Are you partying too? Isn't it the same for you? Xiao Qiao replied nonchalantly. Huo Lily and Zhang Qian looked at each other, feeling that the atmosphere was stiff and awkward. The drama of a wealthy palace's fight was unfolding before their eyes. Zhou Ziu smiled and said, how about we all play together? Xiao Qiao refused directly, no, you can play with yourself, let's go upstairs. After saying that, she took Bai Wei, Zhang Qian, and the others upstairs. Both of them behaved very restrainedly, and no matter how deep their conflicts were, they would not expose them to outsiders and make people laugh. After such an incident, Huo Lily and the others felt somewhat embarrassed and not as relaxed and comfortable as before. After watching the movie, they saw that it was already past 4 in the afternoon, so they said goodbye. Tsuyu, let's go back first. Tomorrow is the first day of work, and we need to make some preparations. Joziu didn't stay with them long, smiled, and said, okay then, I'll let Lu Ji drive you back. Li Jie will be back soon, and she doesn't want him to meet Tan Hui. Even if there is nothing left between the two of them, they don't want to. She sent Huo Lily and the others outside the door. Just when the 5 of them were about to get in the car, the villa courtyard door opened automatically and a black Audi A8L drove in. The car stopped in the open space in front of the villa, the door opened, and Li Jie, Lu Kaiyu, and bodyguards Ruan Jing and Zhou Chao got out of the car. Zhou Ziyu took 2 steps forward and said with a smile, hubby, you are back. Li Jie nodded to her, and his eyes fell on Huo Lily and the others behind her. His eyes paused when he saw Tan Hui. Are you at a party? Zhou Ziyu accepted lightly. Just after the party, I asked Lu Ji to take them back. Mr. Li, Huo Lily and the others took the initiative to say hello. They were classmates with Li Jie in school, but now that they have come to the company for internship, they have a superior subordinate relationship with each other. Li Jie is the big boss of the company, and they are just new interns. Li Jie nodded to them and didn't say much. Unlike Xiao Qiao, he is completely unfamiliar with Zhou Ziyu's former roommates. Of course, Tan Hui is an exception. Huo Lily and the others watched Li Jie enter the villa with Lu Kaiyu and bodyguard Ruan Jing. Tan Hui looked at Li Jie's leaving figure, feeling a little dazed. She hadn't seen Li Jie for more than a year, and she felt that he had changed more and more. There is an inexplicable aura in every move he makes, and his whole body exudes the charm of a mature man. It was completely unimaginable that he was the same boy who was submissive in front of her in high school. How can people change so much? If Li Jie knew what she was thinking, he would probably find it funny. Momentum. It's just that he is rich and powerful now and makes ordinary people feel in awe. Just like an ordinary worker, he would subconsciously lower his attitude when facing his boss. Xiao Hui, Tan Hui came back to her senses when she heard Huo Lily's cry. What's wrong? Let's get in the car, Huo Lily said with a smile. Okay, Tan Hui nodded and followed Huo Lily and the others into the Cadillac. When they came out of the house at night, Cao Xiaoqian and Song Ziona were busy preparing for their first day at work tomorrow. They lived in the second bedroom together, while Huo Lily and Tan Hui lived in the master bedroom together. Song Ziona took out the suit she prepared and tried it on. She has fair skin, is not tall, and is slightly chubby. She is a cute type of girl. Xiaoqian, how about you help me take a look? She asked Cao Xiaoqian for his opinion. Cao Xiaoqian was polishing her leather shoes. After hearing this, she raised her head and glanced at her. It's pretty good. Compared to Song Ziona, her appearance and figure are much better, but like Huo Lily, her skin is a bit darker. Song Ziona added, I don't know which company or department we will be assigned to. Cao Xiaoqian finished polishing one leather shoe and picked up the other. We'll find out tomorrow, but with Tsuyu's face, the distribution shouldn't be too bad. Song Ziona thought of something and lowered her voice and said, Xiaoqian, did you notice the expression Xiao Hui looked at Li Jie this afternoon? It's obvious that she still can't let go. No wonder so many people are chasing her, but she doesn't like anyone. There are many boys chasing after Tan Hui. First, she is really good looking, delicate, quiet, delicate, and sweet. In addition, she also has good academic performance and is very motivated. Such girls are very popular with boys. The second is that she is a girl that Li Jie had a crush on but failed to pursue. Wouldn't it be a great sense of accomplishment to be able to woo a girl who a billionaire has a crush on? After listening to Song Ziona's words, Cao Xiaoqian smiled and said, "What's the use if you can't let go? It's already too late. If I had known today, why would Li Jie come all the way to Hongcheng for her? If she had not refused, there would definitely be a room for her in that villa, and even the position of Xiao Qiao's palace might be hers." There was regret in her tone. After seeing Zhou Ziu's luxurious life, which girl wouldn't feel envious? Song Ziona smiled and said, "To be honest, it would have been so interesting if Xiao Hui and Li Jie were really together. We have a royal palace and a noble concubine in our dormitory. I wonder what kind of trouble this will cause." There were some good girls from the normal college who ranked the four of them: Xiao Qiao, Zhou Ziu, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi. Xiao Qiao is the main palace, Zhou Ziu is the noble concubine, Lu Kaiyu is the virtuous concubine, and Shen Xinyi is the Shifei. Yes, it must be interesting, Cao Xiaoqian nodded in agreement. Do they know that even though Zhou Ziu and Tan Hui have good personalities, they are actually not good at each other? Song Ziona thought for a while and said, "I think Xiaowei may not have a chance if she is willing to let him go. Li Jie has been secretly in love with her for so long, so it's not like he can just let it go. I don't think there's much chance." Cao Xiaoqian shook her head and said, "Li Jie is now a rich man with a net worth of hundreds of millions. He is no longer an ordinary student. He is the most indispensable beautiful girl around him. Have you noticed? The female bodyguard who is following Li Jie is no worse in appearance than Xiao Hui. However, there seems to be an empty room in that villa. I'm a little curious if anyone will live in it again." In another old community not far from Huo Lily and Tan Hui, He's Higang, Yang Hao, and two other boys who came for internship together were drinking together. On the small dining table set aside, there were 7 or 8 dishes of cooked food, cold dishes, and hot stir-fries. 4 people sat around the table, drinking and eating while chatting. A short, thin boy wearing glasses said, "I don't know where we will be assigned tomorrow. It would be great if we could be assigned to Kudong short videos. Maybe we can see Minjao." This boy is obviously a fan of Zhao Minjao. Another boy with a medium build and slightly dark skin said to Yang Hao and He's Higang in a flattering manner, "Brother Hao, Brother Gang, you two have such a good relationship with Mr. Li, the assigned tasks must be the same." After hearing this, He's Higang smiled disapprovingly and said, "It's hard to say, and I can't say for sure." He called Li Jie today, thinking about getting together with a few people in the dormitory. I heard from Lin Jing that his girlfriend Chen Wenjing had a party with Zhou Ziu in their dormitory. But Li Jie declined coldly. He also knew that the other party's identity was different and he was busy with work, but he could always find time to show his face, right? He didn't even want to show his face, obviously he looked down on their friends. Yang Hao glanced at He's Higang and couldn't help but flash a hint of contempt. This He's Higang is really unclear. Not only can he not position himself correctly in front of Li Jie, but he always likes to pretend to be the boss in front of him. I am a little star after all. Who do you think you are? Do you deserve it? I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 385. Thinking like this, Yang Hao looked at the two boys, smiled proudly and said, "I am a contracted artist of Cuckoo Entertainment. I just need to take the internship report to the company to get it stamped, and there is no need for an internship at all." The dark-skinned boy heard this and said with envy, "Brother Hao, you are so awesome. You have become a star before you graduate. Unlike us, we have to worry about finding a job after graduation. I'm not a star, I'm just a little actor. Besides, I can't be where I am today only because of Brother Zhe's support," Yang Hao said modestly, but his face was full of pride. The dark-skinned boy complimented, "Brother Hao, you are too humble. Your good relationship with Mr. Li is an opportunity we cannot envy." Another boy wearing glasses asked, "Brother, how have you met Minjeo? Is she as beautiful in real life as she is online?" Zhao Minjeo is from Kudong short video. He is not in the same company as me, and I haven't met him yet, but we are both from the same group, and we will have the opportunity to meet him sooner or later. Nowadays, the internet celebrity economy has just begun. In the eyes of actors and celebrities, internet celebrities are grassroots and cannot be promoted to the stage. Even young actors like Yang Hao do not think highly of internet celebrities. Who would have thought that the income of first-line internet celebrities in future generations would be lower than that of first-line stars? Seeing the two boys surrounding Yang Hao and complimenting him, and Yang Hao's triumphant look, He Zhigang felt a little disdainful. Since Yang Hao became an actor, he has really regarded himself as a big star. He is so popular every day that he almost doesn't know what his last name is. If others don't know, doesn't he know that this kid is good for nothing except being shameless and flattering? In other words, if you get some opportunities by flattering Li Jie, do you really think you are awesome? Yang Hao and the two boys showed off how good his relationship with Li Jie was, how awesome Kudong Group was, how good the benefits were, etc. The two boys heard that at last year's Kudong Group annual meeting, millions were given out to raffle employees, and some people even won a car worth 100,000 yuan. This year, Li Jie will give out 10 million to all the group's employees. Employees couldn't help but show envy when they handed out red envelopes. The two of them fawned over Yang Hao so much just to build a relationship and join the Kudong Group. Yang Hao suddenly thought of something, turned to He Zhigang and said, "Gangzi, you don't know yet, right? Huo Menjian has terminated her contract with the company." He no longer called He Zhigang brother, but changed his name to Gangzi. It was difficult for Yang Hao to understand Huo Menjian's decision to terminate her contract with the company. In his opinion, even being a small actor is much better than working. After hearing Yang Hao's words, He Zhigang couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. He had already lost contact with Huo Menjian and had no news from her for more than half a year. Then she won't be an actress anymore. Probably, I heard that brother Zhe transferred her to the president's office. Yang Hao's tone had a strange meaning. CEO's office? As soon as He Zhi heard this, he felt his head buzzing. Isn't this guy Li Jie trying to catch Huo Menjian's attention? Otherwise, why would he transfer her to the president's office? Menjian, has she agreed? Menjian. You're being called so affectionate, does that have anything to do with you? Yang Hao glanced at He Zhigang, who was obviously anxious. Why don't you agree? This is an opportunity that many girls can't even ask for. After a pause, he said a little vulgarly, "This Huo Menjian looks very innocent, but I didn't expect that she is also quite motivated." After hearing that Huo Menjian had been transferred to the president's office, he understood why she had terminated her contract with the company. How can a young actor have the prospect of working as a secretary next to a boss? If you are lucky enough to climb into the boss's bed, it will really be like flying on the head of a chicken and turning into a phoenix. In Yang Hao's opinion, Li Jie probably has some ideas about Huo Menjian. Otherwise, why did Huo Menjian win the car worth 100,000 yuan in the lottery at last year's annual meeting? He Zhigang looked at Yang Hao's lewd smile and couldn't help but feel angry, so he punched him. "Damn it, you kid, don't insult Meng Yan." He didn't believe that a girl as good as Huo Menjian would become someone else's plaything. But the reality is that as long as beautiful girls get close to Li Jie, they will inevitably be harmed by him, so he has no choice but to worry. Yang Hao was stunned. He was stunned for a few seconds before he reacted, and then he became angry. "He Zhigang, are you sick? Why, you can't chase other girls, why don't you let others chase her? Sooner or later she will be raped by someone else." What the hum? Seeing Yang Hao insulting Huo Menjian, He Zhigang became even more angry and reached out to grab his collar, but this time Yang Hao fought back. The two of them fought, the table was overturned, and all the dishes fell to the floor. The other two boys quickly started a fight and finally separated the two. Yang Hao was hit several times on the face, with a bruise on his face and a cut at the corner of his mouth. His Higeng was much better and basically uninjured. Although Yang Hao is not small, he is puffy. In a fight, he is no match for the tall and muscular His Higeng. His Higeng shook off the two boys who were holding him. Yang Hao, let me tell you, Menjian is a good girl, not the kind of person you said. If you slander her again, I will beat you up. After hearing this, Yang Hao didn't say anything, sneered, then turned around and went back to bed. This His Higeng simply didn't know what to say. You have to rely on your ability to chase girls. If you can't chase girls for nothing, why don't you allow your friends to chase them? Do you really think of yourself as the boss? What a fun thing. Was what he said wrong? Sooner or later, Huo Menjian will be, it's better to take advantage of a friend than to take advantage of others. Besides, Huo Menjian followed Li Jie and enjoyed the hot food, and had no worries about food and clothing. Isn't that good? Look how open-minded Cheng Xiang is. I told Lu Kaiyu to let it go and I didn't mind at all. It's true that the less capable people are, the more hypocritical they are. If Huo Menjian falls in love with you, then she is really blind. Xiao Jiao and her roommates had a party until around 7 p.m., and Li Jie even had dinner with them. Unlike Zhou Ziu's former roommates, he has relatively more social interactions with Bai Wei, Zhang Qian, and Zhang Yu, and is more familiar with them. During the meal, except for Bai Wei, Zhang Qian, Zhang Yu, Lu Li, and Shen Man all acted a little reserved to Li Jie. Zhang Qian no longer had the aura of being foolish as before, and Zhang Yu no longer dared to act petty. When there are huge differences in identity, money, and status between people, it becomes difficult to get along with each other as equals and comfortably. After finishing the meal and seeing that it was getting late, Bai Wei, Zhang Qian and the others said goodbye. Xiao Jiao ordered her bodyguard to drive Zhang Qian and Zhang Yu away, but forced Bai Wei to stay. Sister Wei, please don't leave. Stay here. We will share a room, and then we will go to the company together tomorrow. Xiao Jiao also went to the company for an internship and once again served as Li Jie's personal secretary. No, I won't disturb you anymore, Bai Wei declined with a smile. All the women living in this villa are Li Jie's women. What's going on with her staying here as an outsider? It's okay, Sister Wei, just stay. Xiao Jiao took Bai Wei's hand and said coquettishly. Don't worry, it's not just you, Ruanjing and the others also live here. 6 bodyguards, Ruanjing, Lu Ji, and Lu Yingqi, were divided into 2 groups and took turns staying in the villa to keep watch. Bai Wei really didn't want to stay, but Xiao Jiao held her arm and wouldn't let go. Unable to bear her coquettish begging, Bai Wei could only agree. After giving Bai Wei an envious look, Zhang Yu left with Zhang Qian and the others. Bai Wei didn't want to stay, but she wanted to, but unfortunately she didn't have the chance. After learning that Xiao Jiao asked Bai Wei to stay overnight, Zhou Ziu was speechless. What is this Xiao Jiao thinking? Does she really want to share the same husband with her best friend and let Bai Wei help her maintain her favor? In fact, not only Zhou Ziu, but also Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi found it difficult to understand Xiao Jiao's behavior, and they all looked at Bai Wei with strange eyes. Xiao Jiao, I'll go back to the room first. Bai Wei stood up from the sofa. She was looked down upon by them and didn't want to stay any longer. Sister Wei, let me go back with you. Xiao Jiao also stood up. No need, I can do it myself. Bai Wei smiled and shook her head. For some reason, it was always hard for her to refuse Xiao Jiao's requests. Well, you go back first, I will go back soon, Xiao Jiao said with a smile. After Bai Wei left, she stopped smiling and sat down on the sofa again. The 4 of them looked at each other and said nothing. If Li Jie hadn't said that he had something to tell them, they would have gone back to their respective houses. After waiting for a while, Li Jie came back after making a phone call. He was on the phone just now with a man named Lei. Next year, the other party will create a mobile phone brand called Xiaomi. Li Jie does not plan to make mobile phones, but this does not prevent him from getting involved in the mobile phone industry. Seeing that the mobile internet era is coming, the trend of mobile games is also coming. If you want to make mobile games, you must strengthen your ties with mobile phone manufacturers. There must be at least one major mobile phone manufacturer as a partner, so that you are not completely controlled by others. At present, the most suitable mobile phone manufacturer for investment is none other than Xiaomi. Lei Jun is a mobile phone enthusiast and has long thought about making mobile phones. He has talked with the boss of Meizu Mobile many times about the huge potential of the mobile phone market. He also thought about investing in Meizu and making mobile phones together, but Meizu's boss refused. Because the boss of Meizu holds 100% control of the company, even his senior executives have no equity. After the success of Meizu M8, Lei Jun was determined to make a smartphone. After Li Jie contacted the other party through his relationship, he talked about his optimism about the prospects of the smartphone market and its future development trends. The two immediately hit it off. Although Li Jie doesn't know much about smartphones, no one knows the future development direction of smartphones better than him. Many of the views he said were very inspiring to the other party. In particular, both of them have the same understanding of smartphones, that is, smartphones and traditional mobile phones are completely two different things. In fact, they are not mobile phones, but miniaturized PCs. The smartphone market is the emerging PC market. Li Jie knows very well that smartphones have almost replaced computers in later generations. For ordinary people, they can live without computers, but they cannot live without mobile phones. But now who says that smartphones will replace computers? It is estimated that not many people will believe it. On the phone just now, Li Jie had already agreed with Lei Jun that he would go to Beijing in person in a few days to have a good chat about making Xiaomi mobile phones. After withdrawing his thoughts, Li Jie glanced at the four of them, and then asked Xiaoqiao, "Where is Bai Wei?" "Sister Wei, she has gone back to her room," Xiaoqiao said with a smile. Li Jie listened and nodded. He was not too surprised that Xiaoqiao asked Bai Wei to stay overnight. Because her character is not out of tune, she often does things that make people laugh. With such a girlfriend, life would be interesting, but not very suitable for living. Of course, this is only for ordinary people, and it doesn't matter to Li Jie. Ordinary people are not qualified to retain their individuality and will be rubbed away by society, but rich people can. Xiaoqiao asked curiously, "Husband, what do you want from us?" Li Jie smiled and said, "Actually, it's nothing, it's just that the company has developed a few more small games. I'll let you try them out." Xiaoqiao became interested as soon as he heard it, "Then I'll get the computer." She usually likes to play some small games to pass the time. She doesn't like playing games that require too much energy or focus too much on technology. Li Jie stopped her and said, "You don't need a computer, it's a mobile game." "Husband, your company is developing mobile games again," Zhou immediately grasped the key point. Li Jie smiled and said, "Yes, mobile games will be the company's main focus in the future." After a pause, he continued, "The future will be dominated by mobile games." In the traditional mobile phone era, the mobile game market potential was limited. According to a survey by Qwen Technology, last year, 40% of domestic mobile game manufacturers' monthly game product revenue was between RMB 100,000 and RMB 500,000, 37% were under RMB 100,000, 18% were between RMB 510,000 and RMB 1 million, and only 5% the monthly revenue of the manufacturer's game products is more than 1 million. This is why Li Jie has never made mobile games before. The value of the mobile game market is too small. In addition, the terminals of mobile phone platforms are not unified, and mobile games developed can only run on specific platforms, which further weakens the potential of the mobile game market. But with the popularity of smartphones and the advent of the mobile internet era, mobile games will truly usher in a golden age starting next year. Li Jie is very clear that the future will be dominated by mobile games, and the market for PC online games and web games will gradually shrink. If Qwen Technology wants to seize the trend, it must take the first step. As early as a few months ago, he asked the R/U0026D department of Qwen Technology to turn popular web games such as Dandan Tang, Clash of Clans, and Tower Defense 3 Kingdoms into mobile games. It has also established more than a dozen projects such as Temple Escape, Angry Birds, Happy Match, National Fruit Slicing, 3D Suspension Flight, Skiing Adventure, and Carrot Defense. Mobile games. Smartphones are not yet popular enough and their configurations are not good enough. It will take 12 or 13 years for the mobile online game market to really explode. Therefore, Qwen Technology is currently focusing on standalone games such as Tian Tian Parkour, Angry Birds, and 3D Suspension Flight that occupy small memory and are highly playable. In particular, the installation package of the small game 3D Suspension Flight is only 5 MB, which requires very low mobile phone configuration. Li Jie asked Xiaojiao, Zhou, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi to come over, then took out his mobile phone and clicked on Angry Birds. Angry Birds is the mini-game that he values the most. This somewhat ugly bird later became popular all over the world, and there were no early smartphone users who had not played it. This small game is also the first mobile game developed by Qwen Technology. This red chick looks a bit ugly. Xiaojiao looked at the Angry Birds and said with a smile. Chick. Li Jie couldn't help but glance at her after hearing this. What kind of eyes does the Xiaojiao have that he can recognize a bird as a chicken? He couldn't help but think of the video of the little deaf girl. This seems to be a bird, right? Shen Xinyi said in a guessing tone. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 386. Li Jie glanced at Shen Xian and said with a smile, yes, this is a little bird. This game is called Angry Birds. Xiaojiao was a little surprised when he heard it. It's a little bird. It does look like a chicken. Come, let me teach you how to play. Li Jie began to teach them how to play the game. This game is very simple, with almost no learning threshold. Just put the bird on the slingshot, adjust the angle, and knock down the fat green pig hiding in the illegal building. Even the top students can play sine theorem and parabolic equation, and even the bad students can play based on their feelings. This one is a bit similar to Dandan Tang, both are catapult games. Li Jie showed them how to play once, and they knew how to play. The four of them tried it out separately. Xiaojiao and Shen Xian were more emotional about this little game, while Zhou and Lu Kaiyu were less interested. Next, Li Jie let them try out several other mini-games such as Temple Escape, Everyone Cuts Fruit, and Little Crocodile Loves Bathing. Later, 4 small games, Angry Birds, Temple Escape, Fruit Ninja, and Plants vs. Zombies are collectively known as the 4 kings of smartphone games in China. It was also a money-attracting tool in the early days of smartphones. Each game could become a game company. Every game is a big IP, not just games, but also animations and movies can be adapted, and game peripheral products can be developed. Now these 4 mini-games have been developed by Qwen Technology. Li Jie is also planning to establish or invest in several model toy factories to produce animation, games, film, and television peripheral derivative products. Xiaojiao, Zhou, Lu Kaiyu, and Shen Xinyi all chose to download several mini-games. Xiaojiao and Shen Xian chose simple and casual games such as Angry Birds and Fruit Slicing. Zhou chose skill-based games such as Temple Run and Plants vs. Zombies. As for Lu Kaiyu, she doesn't like playing games and just downloaded 2 small games. After downloading the game, the 4 of them went back to their rooms, while Li Jie went to the gym in the basement to do some operations. Li Jie exercised in the gym for more than 40 minutes and then went to the bathroom to take a shower. After taking a shower, he came out of the bathroom and prepared to go to Lu Kai's room. In order of date, it's her turn tonight. However, as soon as Li Jie came out of the bathroom, he met Xiao Jiao. She walked out of the cloakroom holding a suit and underwear. When Bai Wei came, she didn't expect to stay overnight, so she didn't bring any clothes. Xiao Jiao came to the cloakroom to help her get a change of clothes and work clothes to wear to work tomorrow. In fact, she also had clean underwear in her room, but their bodies were too different, not in height. Her clothes didn't fit Bai Wei at all. "Husband, did you go take a shower?" Xiao Jiao said with a smile. At this time, Li Jie was wearing a bathrobe, his hair was still a little wet, and he looked like he had just taken a shower. Li Jie nodded and glanced at the clothes she was holding in her hand. "Did you go get clothes for Bai Wei?" The two of them walked up the stairs while talking. The cloakroom is on the first floor, and Lu Kaiyu and Shen Xinyi's rooms are on the second floor. Xiao Jiao's room is on the third floor, and it is right next to Li Jie's master bedroom. As for Zhou Ziyu, her room is on the first floor. In addition, bodyguards such as Ruanjing, Lu Ji, and Lu Yingqi also live on the first floor. After reaching the second floor, Li Jie did not go to Lu Kaiyu's room, but went to the third floor with Xiao Jiao. Xiao Jiao was about to go back to her room, but Li Jie stopped her. "Come on, let's go get some air." Li Jie took Xiao Jiao to the terrace, asked her to put aside the clothes she was holding, and then hugged her from behind. The Shanghai stock market was still relatively hot in October, so Xiao Jiao only wore a loose t-shirt and a pair of shorts. "Husband, do you feel any difference?" Xiao Jiao said a little complacently. "What's different?" Li Jie was a little confused. "You really don't feel it? What does it feel like?" Xiao Jiao turned around, smiled and whispered something in his ear. Li Jie suddenly became enlightened after hearing this. "It's a bit of a change." "What do you mean by a little change?" "It means a big change, okay," Xiao Jiao said coquettishly. Li Jie always said he was sorry for A, but he was actually joking. If he is really right about A, then he can only be brothers with Xiao Jiao. However, when she first got together with him, she was really ordinary. "Okay, that's a big change." Seeing Li Jie being so perfunctory, Xiao Jiao got a little angry and broke away from his arms. "I'm going back to my room." How could he do this? She had been happy about this for a long time and wanted to give him a surprise. Li Jie quickly grabbed her and said, "Okay, I'm just teasing you." The same goes for Xiao Jiao. What's there to be proud of? Even if she barely passed, it wouldn't change the fact that she was at the bottom. On the third floor, in Xiao Jiao's room, Bai Wei was fiddling with her phone boredly, playing Temple Escape. As soon as Xiao Jiao came back, he shared all the downloaded games with her. Seeing that Bai Wei was not using a smartphone, he got her a white Meizu M8. She skillfully manipulated the game character, overcoming numerous obstacles and traps, and kept flying forward, avoiding the pursuit of a group of ghost-like demon guards. Bai Wei, like Lu Kaiyu, doesn't like playing games very much, but she has very good hands-on skills. She got started with this little game after playing it for a while. She passed several levels, but as the game speed became faster and faster, she accidentally made a mistake and the game character was caught by the demon guard. Bai Wei quit the game, looked at the time, and found that it was already past 9 p.m. Xiao Jiao has been gone for more than half an hour, why hasn't he come back yet? Didn't they say that they would take a shower together? With this thought in mind, she stood up and left the room. Bai Wei first went down to the first floor and looked in the cloakroom, but found that there was no one inside. She thought about it and guessed that Xiao Jiao probably went to Li Zhe's room. Walking upstairs again, Bai Wei met Lu Kaiu, who happened to be coming out of the room on the second floor. She smiled and nodded at Lu Kaiu and took the initiative to say hello. Lu Kaiu looked her over and nodded to her with a somewhat cold attitude. Then she went downstairs. However, before Bai Wei could reach the terrace, she went up to the third floor, subconsciously glanced at the closed door of the master bedroom, and then walked to the terrace. She was going to the terrace to get some air. However, before reaching the terrace, she stopped. Li Jia and Xiao Jiao were hugging each other, enjoying the wind and watching the night view. Bai Wei looked at the backs of the two of them and suddenly felt a little envious. Early the next morning, Bai Wei was woken up by the alarm on her cell phone. She didn't sleep well last night and had a dream. She dreamed that Li Jia was bullying Xiao Jiao, and then the person being bullied suddenly became herself. How could you have such a dream? She is not interested in Li Jia. Could it be because of last night? That's why I think about it day by day and dream about it at night. No, she didn't think about it either. Bai Wei picked up her phone and turned off the alarm clock, then looked at the time, which was 7 o'clock in the morning. Putting down her phone, she looked down at Xiao Jiao, who was holding her tightly. This Xiao Jiao was so shameless. She didn't even tell her that she didn't wear underwear, but she still insisted on sleeping with her in her arms. Bai Wei reached out and patted her lightly. Xiao Jiao. Husband, don't make trouble, Xiao Jiao muttered softly. Husband. Bai Wei felt funny in her heart and patted her hard again. Husband, why are you still? Xiao Jiao muttered and opened his eyes, and was stunned for a moment before he realized what he was doing. Sister Wei. Get up, it's 7 o'clock, Bai Wei said to her with a smile. It's only 7 o'clock, let's sleep a little longer. Xiao Jiao moved her body and hugged her tighter. Bai Wei blushed and quickly stopped her. This Xiao Jiao was moving around in her arms, not only talking, but also using his hands and feet. Even if both of them are girls, they can't do this. Get up quickly, you forgot that we have to go to the company today. That's right. We have to go to the company for an internship. Xiao Jiao had already forgotten about the internship, and only remembered it after Bai Wei said it. The two got up from the bed and started getting dressed. Xiao Jiao glanced at Bai Wei, who was putting on her underwear, then at herself, and then sighed softly. The gap is still too big. Small suit and shirt and hip skirt and black silk. Bai Wei put on a secretary's professional attire, said hello to Xiao Jiao, left the room, and went to wash up first. After spending more than 10 minutes washing up, she went downstairs to the living room and saw Zhou Ziyu in a light blue dress, sitting in the dining room and eating elegantly. The large dining table was filled with a variety of sumptuous breakfasts. Seeing Bai Wei coming down from upstairs, Zhou Ziyu looked her up and down and suddenly became wary. With this appearance, this figure, and the temptation of the uniform, what man can resist it? She was alert in her heart, but she showed a friendly smile on the outside. Bai Wei, are you up? Ziyu. Bai Wei also smiled and greeted her. Zhou Ziyu put down his chopsticks, picked up a tissue and wiped his mouth. Come over and eat, you're welcome, as if it's your own home. With that said, she stood up. I have to go to class, so I won't accompany you. Okay. Bai Wei nodded and watched the other party leave. At this time, Xiao Jiao also came down from upstairs. Seeing this scene, he asked, Sister Wei, what did Joe Fox tell you? She didn't say anything. Bai Wei looked away and smiled. You don't need to pay attention to her. It's not her turn to make the decision in this family. Let's eat. The two sat down at the dining table and started eating breakfast. Soon, the roar of a sports car was heard in the yard, and the blue Lamborghini drove out. This week, Fox drove that Lamborghini to school to show off again, Xiao Jiao said angrily. She had thought about it and would apply to a normal university when she would take the postgraduate entrance exams in her senior year. We can't let that Joe Fox keep pretending to be Li Zhe's real girlfriend and cheating outside. After hearing this, Bai Wei smiled on the outside, but sighed softly in her heart. Xiao Qiao's character is really not suitable for living in a wealthy family. The only thing she can rely on is Li Zhe's love. But how can a man be trusted? She originally thought that Li Zhe would not cheat, or would not cheat prematurely, but it turned out that she was wrong. After a while, when they had almost finished eating, Li Zhe and Lu Kaiu also came down from the second floor. As for Shen Xinyi, she broadcast live until the early morning last night and wouldn't get up until 8 or 9 o'clock. Li Zhe turned his attention to Bai Wei, and a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. The professional attire she wears is so stylish. However, he quickly withdrew his gaze and secretly warned himself that this was Xiao Qiao's best friend and he couldn't have any twisted thoughts. Besides, even if he has his own thoughts, Bai Wei may not like him. This girl is very defensive about men. After finishing the meal, Li Zhe looked at the time and it was already past 8 o'clock, and said to Xiao Qiao and the others, "It's almost time, let's go to the company." Li Zhe got into the Audi A8L with Xiao Qiao, Lu Kaiu, Bai Wei, and bodyguard Ruanjing. He sat in the back seat with Xiao Qiao and Lu Kaiu, Bai Wei sat in the passenger seat, and Ruanjing was responsible for driving. In addition, Zhou Chao and 2 female bodyguards also got into a BMW SUV. The 2 cars left the Sandalwood Villa one after the other and headed towards the company. On a bus 4 or 5 kilometers away from Zhangjiang High-Tech Park, He's Higeng had an anxious look on his face and took out his mobile phone to check the time from time to time. He's going to be late. The reporting time for their interns is 8:30, but it is already 8:10. After the fight with Yang Hao last night, He's Higeng was in a depressed mood and drank heavily all night. As a result, when he woke up in the morning, he found that it was almost 8 o'clock. Yang Hao and the other 2 boys have already left. None of them called him, he cursed, didn't even bother to wash up, put on his suit and tie, and ran out. In fact, the boy with glasses who lived in the same room as He's Higeng called him, but he just responded in a daze and fell asleep again. It was already a bit late, so he should have taken a taxi, but He's Higeng was reluctant to pay for a taxi and chose to take the bus. Now it seems that he is really going to be late. While He's Higeng waited anxiously, the bus finally arrived at the stop, and it was already 8:23. After getting off the car, he hurried to the company. However, before he ran very far, a red Volkswagen Polo passed by him and honked its horn. He's Higeng looked over subconsciously and saw the car window lowered, revealing a delicate face. "Menjian," he couldn't help shouting in surprise. Huo Menjian pulled over and said, "Brother Gang, are you going to the company too?" "Yes, I went to the company for an internship, but it was a bit late," He's Higeng said with a smile. After meeting Huo Menjian by chance, he suddenly felt in a good mood, and his original depression was gone. "Get in the car, I'll go to the company too and see you off on the way," Huo Menjian said with a slight smile. He's Higeng felt even better after hearing this, and couldn't help but smile on his face. "Okay, thank you very much, Menyan." With that said, he opened the passenger door and got in. "Brother Gang, why are you so polite to me?" Huo Menjian started the car and continued on the road. "You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 387. He's Higeng's eyes fell on Huo Menjian, and he couldn't help but feel a little lost. "We haven't seen her for more than half a year. Huo Menjian has changed a lot. She has become more beautiful, better at dressing up, and more elegant." He felt that she was no worse than Xiao Qiao, Lu Kaiu, and the others. If he had not made the mistake of pursuing Zhang Yu, if he could have seized the opportunity during that confession, maybe the beautiful girl in front of him would be his girlfriend now. Thinking of this, Zhegang felt indescribable loss and regret in his heart. Huo Menjian felt his gaze, and while driving, she glanced at him with a smile. "Brother Gang, what do you think I'm doing?" "Nothing." Zhegang looked away in a panic. He thought for a moment and plucked up the courage to say, "Menjian, you have become more beautiful." After hearing this, Huo Menjian glanced at him unexpectedly and smiled generously. "Thank you." Looking at her, Zhegang couldn't help but feel a little flustered. He looked around. The interior space of this small polo was not big, but Huo Menjian's decoration was very warm. There were pink cartoon seat covers, beautiful plush hangings, and many cute dolls. There is also a little bit of fragrance in the car, which should be the fragrance of Huo Menjian. Zhegang remembered the time when school first started in his freshman year. After turning off the lights, he often chatted with Li Jie, Yang Hao, and Wang Haiheng. Once I talked about what it felt like to hold a girl. The answer given by Li Jie is that it is very comfortable, soft, and fragrant, and it is only for beautiful girls. At that time, he had just been with Xiao Qiao not long ago. 2 years have passed in the blink of an eye. Li Jie, Yang Hao, and Wang Haiheng have all had girlfriends, and there are more than one. He is the only one who has never even held a girl's hand, which makes me feel sad just thinking about it. After withdrawing his thoughts, Zhegang glanced at Huo Menjian and felt that he should seize the opportunity. "Menjian, have you bought a car? Why does this little polo cost more than 100,000? Is that how much money you make as an actor?" "I didn't buy it. How could I have the money to buy a car?" Huo Menjian paused, with a smile on her face. "I got this car in a lottery at the group's annual meeting last year. I'm very lucky, right?" Huo Menjian's family background was only average, and she didn't make much money as an actress. She thought that in order to own her first car, she had to wait until she graduated and had a stable job. Who would have thought that she was so lucky that she actually won a car at the group's annual meeting? Moreover, the company is very user-friendly and you can choose your own car model. Of course, the car purchase fund is only 100,000 yuan. If it is less, it will not be refunded, and if it is more, you will have to make up for it yourself. Huo Menjian spent more than 30,000 yuan saved from filming and bought this red automatic Volkswagen Polo. This incident made her happy for a long time, and she became more determined to stay in the company. "Where can I find such a good company? Lucky." After hearing Huo Menjian's words, Zhegang's heart skipped a beat. Last night, he heard Yang Hao bragging to the two boys that an employee won a car worth 100,000 yuan at the Kudong Group's annual meeting last year, but he didn't expect that person to be Huo Menjian. He became more and more sure of his guess. Li Jie definitely had a wrong interest in Huo Menjian. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence that Huo Menjian won the special prize? Zhegang had mixed feelings in his heart, including uneasiness, anger, and sadness. Li Jie already has so many beautiful girls, why do he still care about Huo Menjian? It's not like he doesn't know, that's the girl his buddy likes, so damn shameless. The sad thing is that even if Li Jie wants to snatch Huo Menjian away, he can only watch helplessly and there is nothing he can do. Who made him have no money and power? You're really lucky. Zhegang forced a smile. "Menjian, I heard that you have been transferred to the president's office." Hearing him mention this matter, Huo Menjian couldn't help but smile again. "I didn't expect to be transferred to the president's office. It's all thanks to Mr. Li who gave me the opportunity. Everyone in the group knows that working in the president's office is a shortcut to promotion to senior management. Zhao Jie, Anya, and Wu Nan, after working as assistants or secretaries for Li Jie, they all became branch managers or department heads when they were decentralized. Give you a chance? That kid is uneasy and kind-hearted. He wants to. When he's Higang heard this, he felt even more uncomfortable. He couldn't help but say, Leja, this kid's ability is nothing to say, but he is just too carefree. You see, he has 4 girlfriends on the surface, but he doesn't know how many he has secretly. He was applying eye drops to Leja, hinting that Huo Menjian should stay away from him. Huo Menjian shook her head disapprovingly. It's normal for any man with money and ability not to worry. Li is finally a good man. He treats Xiao Qiao and Secretary Lu very well. Is it normal to be flirtatious? Is Li Jia a good man? He's Higang was confused. It's okay for a girl who worships money to think so. How could a good girl like Huo Menjian think so? Why do girls worship money so much? If a man has no money, no matter how good his character is, he is nothing. But if he has money, he is still a good man no matter how much he spends his time. It seems that is really the case. There are no girls who are unrealistic. If you don't have money or ability, don't find a girlfriend. At this time, Huo Menjian continued to say, Brother Gang, I know that you and Mr. Li are roommates and have a good relationship, but in the company, we have a superior subordinate relationship with Mr. Li, so we can't call him by his name directly. As soon as Ji heard this, he felt even more unhappy, but he couldn't say anything. After all, what she said did make sense. He could only smile reluctantly. I know. Huo Menjian noticed something and stopped talking. Okay, we're here. Soon, the little red Polo arrived at the office building where Kudong Group is located and drove into the underground parking lot. Huo Menjian and his Higang got out of the car together and took the elevator to Qwen Technology. Brother Gang, I'll leave first, and you should hurry up and report in, Huo Menjian said with a smile. Okay, his Higang nodded. He kept watching Huo Menjian go away before looking back. No, I'm late. His Higang took out his mobile phone and looked at the time. He found that it was already 8:35, and hurried to the registration location. Kudong Technology is so big that it occupies 3 floors of an office building. He asked 2 or 3 people before he found the registration location for the interns. It was already past 8:40. Arriving at the door of the U of T conference room, his Higang knocked on the door, and a pleasant female voice came from inside, please come in. He opened the door and walked in, and saw that all the interns had arrived. 200 to 300 people straightened their backs and sat quietly under the stage. Sitting on the stage were Li Jia, Lu Kaiyu, Zhuang Qian, Zhao Qia, Anya, Zhang Jingxian and other company leaders. The person who just asked to come in should be Lu Kaiyu. Seeing this scene, his Higang couldn't help but be stunned for a moment, but he quickly reacted and apologized quickly, sorry, I'm late. Li Jia glanced at him, nodded, and said calmly, hurry up and take a seat. His Higang quickly walked to the back row and found an empty seat to sit down. After sitting down, he looked around and found many familiar people, including Zhang Qiang, Zhang Yu, He Lu, Huo Lily, Lin Jing and so on. At this time, a beautiful and capable young girl dressed as a secretary on the stage tried the microphone and started to speak. I heard her introduce herself as Zhuang Qian, the director of the president's office. She first talked about the development history of Kudong Group, and then on behalf of the group and the president, she welcomed the arrival of these interns and expressed her expectations. After she finished speaking, the leader spoke. The first person to speak was Li Jia, chairman, president, and CEO of the group. Li Jia's speech was very simple and ended after a few words. Next, Zhao Qia, marketing manager of Qwen Technology, Anya, manager of Kudong Short Video, Zhang Jingxian, deputy manager of Kuku Entertainment, and others also made brief speeches. After the leaders finished speaking, Lu Kaiyu took a list and began to announce everyone's internship companies. Kudong Technology, Lu Ji, Den Yuping, Lu Li His Higang. Soon His Higang heard his name, and he was assigned to Qwen Technology. I just heard Chuang Qian, the director of the president's office, introduce that Qwen Technology is the largest company in the group, with nearly 1,000 employees. Half of their 200 to 300 interns were assigned to Qwen Technology, and most of the rest were assigned to Kudong Short Video. His Higeng was really shocked when he heard that Qwen Technology alone had nearly 1,000 people and the entire group had 1,600 or 700 people. He knew that Li Jie was very powerful. He had owned several companies and was worth hundreds of millions in just 2 years since he started his business, but he never had an intuitive feeling. Now he has finally seen that the other party is a very impressive person. 1 to 2,000 people are working for him and depending on him for survival. The other person has achieved such a big career before he has graduated, but he is still worrying about small things like failing the class and graduating. His Higeng realized for the first time how big the gap between people can be. It is simply a world of difference. After the intern meeting, Li Jie took Chuang Qian and Lu Kaiyu and left first. Following closely, Anya, Zhang Jingxian, Yu Zhongmei, Kolan Culture, and other company leaders also left with more than 100 interns. His Higeng, Lin Jing, He Lu and more than 100 interns assigned to Qwen Technology were retained. Next, Anya, the manager of the marketing department of Qwen Technology, and Yu Zhongfeng, the manager of the R/U0026D department, gave speeches respectively, and then a female assistant took the list and announced their specific internship departments. More than half of their more than 100 interns are assigned to the R/U0026D department. The remaining 50 or so people were assigned to the marketing department. Both His Higeng and Lin Jing were assigned to the marketing department, but they were not in the same small department. On the contrary, He Lu and His Higeng were both assigned to the advertising investment team. He Lu is Wang Haiheng's previous girlfriend. His Higeng, He Lu and another boy were led by a male employee in his mid-20s to the office of the advertising investment group. A male supervisor named Wu, who was about 27 or 27 years old, welcomed the arrival of the three people and then arranged seats for them. His Higeng sat with another boy, and He Lu sat not far to the left of them. On the first day of work, Supervisor Wu did not arrange any work for the three of them. He asked them to read the information and become familiar with the work environment. His Higeng sat down at his desk, turned on his computer, and looked around while waiting for it to boot up. This is a small semi-open office separated by glass. There are not many people there. Not counting the three of them, there are only 6 or 7 people, all sitting at the desk and busy. At this time, the boy sitting next to him leaned his head over and whispered, "Brother, are you from Hongchen Normal University? Are you in the same school as Mr. Li?" His Higeng glanced at the boy and said, "Yes, what's wrong?" Just now all three of them introduced themselves. This boy's name is Lu Ji, a business administration major from Shanghai International Studies University. "So how is your relationship with Mr. Li?" the boy named Lu Ji asked again. "We know each other." His Higeng did not say that he and Li Jie were roommates. "It's no wonder," Lu Ji said a little suddenly. "What's the wonder?" "No wonder you were assigned to this department." "Why is this department so good?" His Higeng asked curiously. "Of course, the advertising and investment team is one of the best departments in Qwen Technology, and the benefits are excellent." Lu Ji paused and continued, "The best among our batch of interns is that they are assigned to the president's office, followed by a few departments such as the advertising and investment group." His Higeng was a little surprised when he heard this. It seemed that Li Jie really took special care of him. "Is there anyone assigned to the president's office?" When the department assignments were announced just now, he didn't hear anyone assigned to the president's office. "Yes, but very few. A girl from our school was assigned to the president's office. That girl is the beauty of our business administration major. She is very beautiful." At this point, Lu Ji sighed softly, "It's good to be the boss." His Higeng listened and said nothing. He might have disapproved of it before, but now he also thinks that being rich and powerful is good. Just like he couldn't get enough of Huo Menjian, but Li Jie could bring her to his side with just one word. He Zhigang and Lu Ji were a little idle after reading the information for a while. He Lu was very discerning and took the initiative to ask others if they wanted help, and quickly found a job. Upon seeing this, He Zhigang also tried to ask a male employee wearing glasses if he needed help. However, the other party just looked at him lightly, said no, and ignored him. This made He Zhigang a little embarrassed. At this time, a young woman in her 20s looked him up and down and said, "Your name is He Zhigang, right?" When He Zhigang heard this, he quickly said, "Yes, my name is He Zhigang." "Sister, how can I help?" The young woman smiled and said, "You don't need to call me sister, just call me Ding Li." Although this young woman named Ding Li is average looking, she has fair skin, a good figure, and is very charming. "Then I'll call you Sister Ding. After all, you are the senior," He Zhigang said. Ding Li smiled again, "That's okay, then I'll call you Xiao Gang." "Xiao Gang, I have something to trouble you with. Please help me deliver this document to the president's office." "No problem." Upon hearing this, He Zhigang immediately agreed and took the document. "Go to the president's office, maybe he can see Huo Menjian. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 388. He Zhigang took the documents and hurried out. However, after coming out of the office, he remembered that he didn't know where the president's office was. "I just have to ask someone." He stopped a female clerk and asked for directions. The other party told him that the president's office was upstairs and patiently showed him how to get there. Following the other party's instructions, He Zhigang took the elevator upstairs and quickly found the president's office. When he arrived at the door of the office, he suddenly felt a little nervous for some reason. He hesitated and knocked lightly on the door. "Please come in," a pleasant female voice came from inside. He Zhigang opened the door and walked in, and saw that it was an office area of more than 20 square meters. There were 5 or 6 beautiful girls dressed as secretaries sitting inside, which seemed a bit crowded. He knew many of them, including Xiao Jiao, Bai Wei, Lu Kaiyu, and Huo Menjian. Only the other 2 girls did not know him. Seeing He Zhigang walking in, Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiyu, and Huo Menjian were all a little surprised. Lu Kaiyu stood up and said with a smile, "Brother Gang, why are you here?" He Zhigang couldn't help but feel warm in his heart when Lu Kaiyu still called him Brother Gang like he did in school. "I'm here to help my colleague deliver the documents and hand them over to Director Zhuang." He motioned to the documents in his hand. "Just leave the document to me. Assistant Zhuang is in a meeting with Mr. Li and the others. I will hand it to her in a moment," Lu Kaiyu said, reaching out and taking the document. "Kaiyu, I'm sorry to bother you." He Zhigang was talking to Lu Kaiyu, but his eyes subconsciously fell on Huo Menjian. However, Huo Menjian just smiled politely at him and had no intention of speaking. "We are all classmates, why are you so polite?" Lu Kaiyu smiled generously. "Brother Gang, which department are you assigned to?" "Advertising Investment Group." "That's great. Kaiyu, are you busy at work?" He Zhigang chatted with Lu Kaiyu without anything to say. He just wanted to stay with Huo Menjian for a while and see her more. After staying like this for more than 10 minutes, he really couldn't find anything to say, so he had no choice but to leave. Lu Kaiyu sent him to the door. After coming out of the office, He Zhigang turned around and glanced at the office door. This is not an office, it is clearly a harem. This guy Li Jie is too ridiculous. He felt both contempt and envy in his heart. After all, what man doesn't want to be surrounded by beautiful women? Don't want to have more beautiful girlfriends? It's just that ordinary people don't have that ability. In the back room of the president's office, Li Jie was having a meeting with company leaders such as Zhao Qia, Yu Zhongfeng, Anya, Zhang Jingxian, etc. Assistant Anya and Assistant Secretary Zheng Shan also participated. One was responsible for taking notes, and the other was responsible for serving tea and water. The core of Kudong Group is the gaming industry, and more than 70% of the group's revenue comes from Qwen technology. The most important tasks of Fun One Technology at present are to prepare for the launch of League of Legends next month. On the 27th of this month, which is yesterday, League of Legends was launched in North America. After discussing with Zhao Jia and Yu Zhongfeng, Li Jie set the domestic launch time on the 21st of next month. The second is to fully promote more than a dozen mobile games such as Temple Run, Angry Birds, Fruit Slicing, Happy Match, Plants vs. Zombies, and Little Crocodile Loves Bathing. There are still relatively few smartphones in China, so the focus of game promotion business is not domestic, but abroad. Especially Apple phone users. To this end, Li Jie plans to establish 3 overseas offices in Asia, North America, and Europe. Overseas offices are not only responsible for promoting mobile games, but also promoting web games and PC games. The main business of Qwen Technology will gradually shift to mobile games, but web games and PC games still have several years of high-yield bonus periods, so they cannot give up on this area. In fact, even after mobile games become popular, web games still occupy a certain market. The later version of Playful Blue Moon was only launched in 2016. It's just that this market is shrinking day by day. By 2021, it accounted for less than 3%. In addition, animation, games, film, and television peripherals should also be put on the agenda as soon as possible. Kudong Short Video, Kuku Entertainment, Kuyo Literature Network and Kolon Culture are also the core industries of the group. Short video companies have now reached a bottleneck period, with an average of 40 to 50 million daily visitors, which can be said to be the limit of the PC era. And many competitors have emerged. First, Tudo separated its short video business and created Tudo Short Video, and then many video platforms followed suit. Even a large portal website has built a short video platform. Li Jie really couldn't complain about this. He didn't grab the other party's Weibo, but the other party came to grab his creativity. Do they really think that the combination of short videos and live broadcasts will be the mainstream? The biggest change that Li Jie made in this parallel time and space is that he proposed the concept of short video and live broadcast in advance. In this era, there are people who make short videos and live broadcasts, but there are no short videos and live broadcasts. In fact, Li Jie understood very well that these video platforms and a certain large portal website had nothing to follow. Because all video platforms are losing money without exception, only short animation videos are making money, and they are making a lot of money. No, with one exception, the TV show didn't lose any money. However, let's just look at the revenue reports released to the public. Boss Jia deserves to be named Jia. Before running away, he had been doing one thing, which was to commit financial fraud and try to prove that his company had been making profits. Although there are many people following the trend, it has not had much impact on Kudong Short Video. In fact, it is not that Li Jie has no way to make the short video company go further. That is in addition to short video and live broadcast, plus an e-commerce. The live streaming of goods in later generations is essentially the same as TV shopping, and there is nothing novel about it. Now Kudong Video can completely carry out live broadcast on PC. But e-commerce business is the lifeblood of Jack Ma. Now the potential of the e-commerce market is limited. It is not worthwhile to fight with Jack Ma for this little money. Unlike mobile phone instant messaging software, which is not very valuable, Li Jie decided to give Pony a run for his money even though he didn't have much chance of winning. No matter whether he wins or loses, he won't be willing to give it a try. In short, the current short video platform is still focused on stability and is initially trying to be mobile. Li Jie asked the technical team to create a small app based on the current hardware level. The content is very limited and it mainly pushes videos from a few popular anchors on the platform. At present, mobile video business can only be regarded as a supplement to PC-side business. As for Cuckoo Entertainment, the filming of Escape from the Sand Sea has been completed in early July and is scheduled to be released on the 11th of next month, which is Singles Day. If you don't have a girlfriend on Singles Day, you can go to the cinema to see beautiful girls. Escape from the Sand Sea stars Nini, Luan Xiaolin, Zhao Yuhuan, and Wang Zhaining. It is the ceiling of horror and thriller movies. The plot is not important, but the beauty is worth the ticket price. The three movies Puberty, 20 Again and The Witch were launched in July. Adolescence was shot the fastest, taking just over a month. It was completed in mid-August and is expected to be released in December. The filming of 20 Again took a little more than 2 months, and was completed at the end of last month. It is still in post-production. The filming of the large-scale production The Witch jointly invested by China Film, Guangxian, and Pony Pictures is the slowest. It is still filming and is expected to be completed early next month. In addition, there are 4 movies, The Journey, Hello Stranger, The Ugly Girl Comes Back, and Lonely Special. A Stranger and Hello Stranger were also launched in July and August. Both films have been filmed and are expected to be released around the Spring Festival. The Ugly Girls Come Back only obtained the rights to adapt the comic from the island country in August. It was only this month that preparations were completed and the film was officially launched. The starring role is Wang Zhaining. As for The Lonely Agent, this is also a big production, with the cost of filming and publicity reaching almost hundreds of millions. Preparation for a blockbuster with an investment of hundreds of millions is a very troublesome matter, and it has not been completed for more than 3 months. The companies currently participating in the investment include 5 or 6 film and television companies such as China Film and CalmProtagonist. There is also the bad movie Yueguang Treasure Box in which Cuckoo Entertainment participated, which was also completed in Yinchuan in August. As for Queue Chinese, with the traffic support of the Penguin platform, the novel website has developed rapidly, and its current market share is only slightly lower than the starting point. It is really not easy to surpass the starting point in the Phi era. On the one hand, Li Jie asked the technical team to make a mobile version of the app to seize the opportunity of the mobile internet. On the other hand, we are trying to develop free channels and preparing to launch another free novel app called King Novel. Finally, there is Culture. The copyright business is still burning money. It has burned more than 1 billion in more than a year. Qwen Technology's revenue has skyrocketed since this year. Now its monthly revenue has reached more than 700 million yuan, with profits of more than 200 million yuan, and most of the revenue has been used to fill the bottomless pit of copyright. Of course, there are some effects. At present, Culture has initially established a small copyright library, including novels, animations, movies, songs, etc. However, copyrights must continue to be acquired, even if copyrights become more and more expensive. Because copyright is the foundation of the pen-entertainment industry, the more copyrights you have, the more stable the foundation will be. In addition, comic websites, music player websites, and fashion outfit websites, these complementary companies in the industry chain are also developing steadily. In addition, Li Jie also invested in Station B and acquired the Happy Twist team. Investing in Bilibili is a strong investment. Station B was established in June this year. Its main business is two-dimensional culture, animation, and games. One of the key points of Culture's copyright acquisition is the online copyright of the island country's classic animation. As long as it can acquire the classic animation copyrights of the island country, Culture has acquired them all. This directly choked the lifeblood of Station B. If the other party dared to refuse Kudong Group's investment, endless copyright disputes and lawsuits would follow. You can drag the opponent to death. On the contrary, if Station B accepts investment, it will not only receive development funds, but also receive support from Kudong Group. It's obvious what the other party will choose. As for the acquisition of the Happy Mahua team, it is even easier. Before the movie was made, Happy Twist was just a drama troupe. Although the actors had good acting skills, they really couldn't make much money. After all, a play can only be watched by a few hundred people at most. If there were more people, it would have to be performed one after another. Even if you perform 100 shows, it's not much money. What's more, drama itself is very niche. Therefore, Happy Mahua has been in a state of not making much profit, or even losing money. Kudong Group offered 10 million to acquire 87% of the founders' shares. 10 million is really not too little. Now Happy Mahua's entire company's annual performance income is only over 3 million yuan. This is just income. If you take away the company's various expenses, the profit will not be much, and it may even be a loss. And when the company was founded in 2003, the three founders only invested a total of 300,000. But the three founders were still unwilling, but after the price was increased to 1,500, they were really happy. After all, no one could have imagined that this small company could grow to a valuation of 50 to 6 billion. As for the remaining 13% of the shares, which are in the hands of the management and actors, Li Jie has not moved. 15 million was used to acquire Shen Tang, Molly, and other actors from Happy Twist. The deal made a lot of money. In addition, it makes up for the shortcomings of Cuckoo Entertainment's lack of male artists. Cuckoo Entertainment has many beautiful female artists, but there are not many male artists. After acquiring Happy Mahua, Li Jie did not make any changes and maintained the status quo for the time being. Regarding Happy Twist, the one he valued most was Shen Tang. With each other, we can make more Korean comedy movies. Without suitable actors, it is difficult for comedy movies to produce the desired effects. In fact, Li Jie also wanted to acquire the Swedish Mojang, the development company of Minecraft, but the company's founder did not want outsiders to take shares, so he had to give up. After having a meeting with the group's senior management, Li Jie called Xiao Jiao, Bai Wei, and Lu Kaiu in. There are more and more subsidiaries and branches under the group, and the affairs are becoming more and more complicated. Li Jie also feels that he is getting busier and busier, and gradually becomes a little overwhelmed. If this continues, his life will be filled with work. Li Jie knew what the problem was. He was too careful and unwilling to delegate power. This is also a common problem among most founders. But Li Jie couldn't let go. Just like Cuckoo Entertainment, he clearly knows which movies and TV series will make money and which ones will lose money, so how could he not intervene? It will definitely not work to continue like this. He makes money to enjoy life, not to make money for the sake of making money. Li Jie decided to try to delegate power on the one hand and grasp the big ones and let go the small ones. On the other hand, it is to form an efficient team of secretaries to assist him in handling company affairs. One person can directly manage up to 20 people, but an efficient team can manage hundreds of people. Li Jie told Zhuang Qian and Lu Kaiu about forming a secretarial team, and announced the team positions. The reorganized president's office has an office director and a deputy director. It has positions such as administrative supervisor, secretarial supervisor, human resources supervisor, and financial supervisor. Then Li Jie announced the appointment of Zhuang Qian as the office director and Lu Kaiu as the deputy director. Letting Lu Kaiu serve as the deputy director of the Secretariat office undoubtedly broke his previous decision not to let his girlfriend hold a real power position in the company. But there is nothing that can be done about it. The reorganized president's office has great power. Even if he is absent for a short period of time, the president's office can maintain the normal operation of the group and cannot do without people he truly trusts. I wish you all a happy new year. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 389. The President's office has a low weight. Letting Lu Kaiu serve as deputy director is an attempt. If it doesn't work, he will make adjustments. Li Jie then appointed Zheng Shan as the secretarial supervisor. Bai Wei and two other newly recruited girls, Lu Yi and Zhang Wenjun, are administrative specialists, human resources specialists and reception specialists respectively. Appoint Huo Menjian as affairs secretary. And let Xiao Jiao serve as his life secretary again. The two newly recruited girls, Lu Yi and Zhang Wenjun, are from Shanghai University respectively, and there is also a senior intern from outdoor. Bai Wei and Huo Menjian have just joined the company and are still in the internship period. It is impossible for them to assume supervisory positions as soon as they arrive. They must start as specialists. Even if Zhuang Qian and Zheng Shan were specially promoted, they had only been employed for 4 or 5 months. In fact, the most senior among them is Lu Kaiu, who came to the company as an intern shortly after Qwen technology was established. It sounds like he is at the veteran level. The position of administrative director Li Jie is reserved for Bai Wei. He will promote her in a few months. There is no doubt about her ability, he has seen her before, and she is even stronger than Lu Kaiu. This position is essentially the confidential secretary of the president, staying with Li Jie to assist him in handling daily affairs. Huo Menjian's affairs secretary is the life secretary, who is responsible for arranging Li Jie's schedule and handling some trivial matters in life. This position is actually more suitable for Xiao Qiao and Shen Xinyi. But among the 4 of them, only Lu Kaiu is more ambitious, and the rest, even Zhou Ziyu, is not very ambitious. Xiao Qiao's work has never been successful. This time she served as a life secretary, but she couldn't last more than a few days. As for Shen Xinyi, since she wants to be an internet celebrity, she should do it as she wants. Li Jie then said to Zhuang Qian and Lu Kaiu, "Zhuang Qian, you will be the human resources manager first. Kaiu, you can take on the role of financial manager. The position of financial director is the most important. Lu Kaiu already controls the financial inspection team, so this position belongs to her." Zhuang Qian nodded calmly, a hint of joy flashed in her eyes. She graduated from Yanda University and has interned in a Fortune 500 company. She has strong working ability and good looks, and there is no shortage of good job opportunities. She came to Kudong Group because she heard that the boss of this company did not value academic qualifications or qualifications. As long as they had ability, they would make special promotions. He also liked to reuse female employees. Unlike many large companies, promotion depends not only on ability, but also on qualifications and connections. Now it seems that her choice was indeed the right one. Lu Kaiu also smiled and nodded, feeling very happy. With her efforts, Li Jie gradually began to put her in charge of important affairs of the group. "I used to be in charge of the financial inspection team, and now I am the deputy director of the president's office." Although she is only the deputy director, she has more power than the director Zhuang Qian. After all, she represents Li Jie. What's the use of blindly competing for favor? Only by becoming Li Jie's right-hand assistant in his career can he stay with him for a long time. Li Jie looked at Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiu, Bai Wei, and Huo Menjian. At present, this secretarial team is only initially formed, and we will continue to recruit people to improve the team. I believe that with this team of secretaries, his work will be much easier and he will be more comfortable handling company affairs. However, the most important thing now is to change to a larger office as soon as possible. This office is too small. With this in mind, Li Jie asked Zhuang Qian and Zheng Shan to go out first, leaving Xiao Jiao, Bai Wei, and Huo Menjian behind. Then he glanced at Huo Menjian and said, "Menjian, go and pour 4 cups of coffee." "Okay, Mr. Li," Huo Menjian said, got up and went to pour coffee. She also looks very stylish in her secretary uniform, and is particularly gentle and intellectual. Soon, Huo Menjian came back with 4 cups of coffee, placing each cup in front of Li Jie, Xiaojiao, and Bai Wei. Li Jie asked her to sit down again, let's have a cup of coffee and rest for a while. After saying that, he picked up the coffee and drank it. Xiaojiao, Bai Wei, and Huo Menjian also picked up their coffee and drank it slowly. While drinking coffee, Li Jie looked at Xiaojiao, Bai Wei, and Huo Menjian without any trace. With beautiful girls like them accompanying them, even working was a kind of enjoyment. At this time, his and Xiaojiao's eyes met. There was a smile in her eyes, which seemed to be angry but not angry, as if to say, you are not allowed to have ideas about other girls. After drinking coffee and resting for a while, the 4 of them started working. Li Jie first said to Huo Menjian, on the 5th of next month, I have to go to the capital on a business trip. Please book 4 air tickets and arrange your work schedule. If you don't understand anything, just ask Xiaojiao. Although Xiaojiao is not good at work, she has served as his personal secretary many times, so she still has experience. In fact, in terms of qualifications, Xiaojiao is older than Lu Kaiyu. She worked for him as his personal secretary before Qwen technology was established. Even Zhao Jia and the others were recruited by her during interviews with him. After speaking, Li Jie said to Bai Wei, help me check the information of a few people. One is Guo Jingfei, who should be an actor in the drama troupe now. The other 2 are artists under Fahrenheit Brothers, one is named Wang Kai and the other is named Chen Xiao. There is also an internet user named Yi Xiaoxing who makes spoof short videos on Kudong Short Video. After checking the information of these people, send the information to Mr. Zhang and ask her to sign these people. After hearing this, Bai Wei nodded, I understand, Mr. Li. After acquiring Happy Twist, Kudong Group now has a large number of powerful actors including Shen Tang, Ailun, Yuan, Jiao Shan, and Ma Li. After all, they all have a background in drama and have solid acting skills. Coupled with Luan Xiaolin, Wang Haining, Zhao Yahuan, Nini, and the others, they are full of talents. But it's still not enough. Luan Xiaolin and Wang Haining are young actresses. The Happy Twist team is mainly composed of comedians, but there is still a shortage of male idols and capable actors. So Li Jie plans to sign Guo Jingfei and recruit Wang Kai and Chen Xiao. Guo Jingfei should be in a drama troupe at this time, mainly acting in dramas, and he should not have signed with an economic company yet. And Wang Kai and Chen Xiao are now both artists of Fahrenheit. Fahrenheit Company is a well-known graveyard for newcomers. It has signed a bunch of capable newcomers and has a lot of resources, but it just doesn't give them a chance. It would rather find Hong Kong and Taiwan artists than train its own newcomers. Chen Xiao was a bit better. He signed a contract with Fahrenheit before graduating, and got a small role in Detective D, The Empire of Heaven, which was a bit of a show. Wang Kai was miserable. After signing the contract for Fahrenheit, he confidently thought that he would not be short of movies, so he bought a house in Beijing with a loan. As a result, there was no filming for a year after signing the contract. Due to his livelihood and mortgage payment, he had no choice but to take over the role of a gay man in Mango Channel's Ugly Girl. Unexpectedly, this drama became a hit, and the gay character became deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. From now on, the characters who come to him are either gay or sissy, or I can't do it. Now that Cuckoo Entertainment is poaching Wang Kai, as long as they say they won't let him play any more gay characters in gay movies, he will definitely come over immediately. However, this is impossible. Wang Xiaojian, the male protagonist of Love Is Not Blind, is a sissy. Li Jie doesn't like literary leaders, so this role must be played by Wang Kai. As for Yi Xiaoxing, he is an all-around talent who can act, direct, and write. The series unexpectedly he shot became very popular and made Wang Dawei famous. Speaking of which, the reason why Li Jie knows so much about the entertainment industry is thanks to the several Huayu novels he has read. On the first day of the internship, His Higang only went to the president's office to deliver a document, and also helped his colleague Sister Ding to copy some documents. By the way, he also changed a bucket of water. He felt like the day had passed without doing anything. At 5:30 p.m., Supervisor Wu said that everyone could get off work. However, he kept 2 employees, 1 male and 1 female, as well as He Lu. Director Wu is taking them to have dinner with clients. After coming out of the office building, the intern named Lu Ji said to His Higang. His Higang glanced at the other party and asked curiously, "How do you know so much?" Lu Ji smiled but did not answer. After saying goodbye to Lu Ji, His Higang walked to the bus stop alone. However, before he had gone far, he heard a whistle coming from next to him. His Higang subconsciously thought it was Huo Menjian, and immediately turned around in surprise, only to find it was a silver-white BMW car. "It's not Huo Menjian's car." The joy on his face immediately disappeared. At this time, the BMW's window rolled down, and an ordinary-looking but charming woman poked her head out. "Sister Ding," His Higang said unexpectedly. "Xiao Gang, are you going home?" Ding Li said with a smile on her face. "I want to go home." "Where do you live?" "Just." His Higang said an address. After hearing this, Ding Li chuckled and said, "Get in the car, I'll take you back." His Higang was stunned for a moment, then quickly declined and said, "Sister Ding, no need, I'll just take the bus back." "Xiao Gang, don't be polite to me, come up here." "Sister Ding, you really don't need it? If you're still polite, do you think you don't think of me as your sister?" Ding Li said, pretending to be angry. Seeing the other party's mature, charming and slightly angry look, His Higang couldn't help but be stunned for a moment. "Sister Ding, I'll trouble you." He hesitated, walked to the passenger seat, opened the door and got in the car. "No trouble, don't be polite to me." Ding Li stared at him and said with a smile. His Higang felt a little embarrassed by her sight and smiled covertly. Suddenly, Ding Li came to him and leaned down. In an instant, the two of them were very close. His Higang could clearly smell the pleasant scent of perfume on the other person's body. When he subconsciously lowered his head, he saw a different scenery. He was stunned, his face was red from his ears to his neck, and his heart was beating fast. "There is only one word in my mind, big." "Okay." Ding Li pulled up the seat belt and buckled it for him. After she stood up, she noticed his appearance, was stunned for a moment, and then smiled foolishly. His Higang couldn't help but think of a word, trembling flowers. It was really shaking. He couldn't help but blush even more. Ding Li laughed for a while, stopped, looked at him and asked with a smile, "Xiao Gang, you haven't had a girlfriend yet, have you?" "Not yet," He said a little shyly. He felt a little ashamed. After Ding Li heard this, the smile on her face became even stronger. As she drove, she said, "Xiao Gang, how old are you this year?" "I am 24 years old this year." "Then you are a tiger." "Right. Then I'm 5 years older than you." "Sister Ding, are you 29 this year?" His Higang was a little surprised. Ding Li glanced at him and said mockingly, "Yes, I am almost 30. I am too old to compete with you young people." When His Higang heard this, he quickly explained, "Sister Ding, don't get me wrong, I didn't mean that. You are not old at all. You look like you are in your mid-20s. I really didn't expect you to be 29. "Really?" Ding Li couldn't help but smile. After a pause, she smiled and said, "Looking at how honest you are, you shouldn't tell lies." His Higang always felt a little restrained in front of girls and couldn't let go, and he didn't know what to say, especially when he was with Huo Menjian. But when he got along with Ding Li, he didn't know how to do it at all. He felt very relaxed and comfortable, and he could even say some complimentary words. He was also a little surprised by this, and he didn't know why. Sister Ding, are you driving in the wrong direction? He's Higang noticed that the direction was wrong. The house he rented was in the suburbs, but Ding Li was driving towards the city. Ding Li smiled and said, "Yes, I will take you to dinner first." Sister Ding, no need, He's Higang quickly declined after hearing this. The two had just met, how could he be so embarrassed to ask the other party to treat them to dinner? Besides, how could he, a grown man, ask a woman to treat him? Isn't this just a soft meal? What can you cook as a boy? Seeing that He's Higang was still refusing, Ding Li pretended to be angry and said, "Xiao Gang, how many times have I told you, don't be polite to me? If you refuse again, I will be really angry. Besides, you helped me a lot today, so I treat you to dinner as a thank you." Helped a lot? He just sent her a document and copied some information, so it was not worthy of a treat and thanks. However, seeing the other party's slightly angry and feminine look, He's Higang couldn't say any words to refuse. At worst, when the meal is over, he can just pay the bill first. He thought so. At night, Sandalwood Villa. In the master bedroom on the third floor, Li Jie was sitting on the bedside, holding his laptop and writing. Xiao Jiao was dawdling next to him, disturbing him. In order of date, it's her turn tonight. Pa, Li Jie reached out and patted her little butt. Don't make trouble now, wait until I finish writing. He had tutored her on the terrace last night. He didn't have much intention of bullying her now. Work was more important. Oh, Xiao Jiao said softly, a little disappointed. Li Jie is writing the outline of the script, The Birth of Beauty. He had watched a few episodes of the South Korean TV series a long time ago and could not remember the specific content. I just remember that the heroine is an obese housewife who was abandoned by her husband. With the help of the hero, she underwent plastic surgery and became a beautiful woman. All the details have to be filled in by the writing team. Li Jie is planning to let Nini act in this drama. Husband, Xiao Jiao said softly again. What's wrong? Li Jie took a look and asked. Husband, do you have any thoughts about Huo Menjian? Xiao Jiao asked tentatively. What are you talking about? Li Jie said while typing without raising his head. Then why did you let her be your life secretary? Xiao Jiao asked with some disbelief. Huo Menjian's job was secretary, but how could she not see that the other person was doing the job of a personal secretary? Li Jie had never let an outsider serve as his personal secretary before. Li Jie stopped typing, looked at her and said funnily, okay, don't think too much about it. It's not like you don't know that He's Higang likes her, how could I possibly set her sights on you? He really had no idea about Huo Menjian. He doesn't want to mess with such a good girl now. Xiao Jiao curled her lips after hearing this, that's not sure. Isn't this more exciting? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn. Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 390. More exciting? Li Jie was so angry and funny that he slapped her hard on her butt. Snapped. Is he that kind of person? Ah, Xiao Jiao screamed in pain after being beaten by him. Look, even if you have an idea, you are getting angry, she pointed at him and said with a smile, as if I was right. Seeing that Xiao Jiao still dared to slander him, Li Jie put the laptop aside, grabbed her directly, and gave her an education. However, he was not willing to really hit her, he just made a show of it and stopped. Husband, why did you stop? Xiao Jiao glanced at him charmingly and bit her lip. You still want me to continue, right? This little elf. Li Jie suddenly discovered that the Xiao Jiao was slightly masochistic. To satisfy her request, he spanked her again. Snapped. Do you still dare to talk nonsense? Am I talking nonsense? Xiao Jiao said stubbornly. After a pause, she suddenly said, Husband, what do you think of Sister Wei? Li Jie didn't think much and said subconsciously, Bai Wei is very good, beautiful, and has great working ability. Halfway through, he suddenly realized that there was something in what Xiao Jiao said. What do you mean? Xiao Jiao looked at him with a complicated expression, Husband, you can't have any ideas about Huo Menjian. What, then I can have Bai Wei's idea, Li Jie said with a smile. He said this as a joke, but unexpectedly Xiao Jiao nodded seriously. This made him stunned. However, you can't force it, Sister Wei must do it voluntarily, Xiao Jiao added. Jiao Bao, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Li Jie's expression returned to normal and he looked her up and down and said. What's wrong with me? Xiao Jiao was a little confused. You betrayed your friend for glory? Bai Wei was so good to you, and you betrayed her. Li Jie looked like he had misjudged the person. When Xiao Jiao heard this, he became anxious and said coquettishly, What are you talking about? I'm not here for you. Do you dare to say that you have no idea of Sister Wei? Jiao Bao, please don't beat me up. Why did I have Bai Wei's idea? Have no idea. Xiao Jiao snorted, then why do you always look at others with a leering look? Sexy. What's wrong with him? His eyes are appreciative, right? Okay, stop thinking all over the place, you little head. Li Jie stretched out his hand and tapped her on the forehead. I have no idea of Huo Menjian, let alone Bai Wei. She is your best friend. He didn't know what Xiao Jiao was thinking, whether he was testing her, or whether she really wanted to sell her friends for glory, but he would not admit it. No, he had no idea about Bai Wei in the first place. Best friend. Xiao Jiao smiled meaningfully. Isn't this more exciting? Husband, think about it, if Sister Wei and I were together. After listening to her words, Li Jie thought about it subconsciously. Girlfriend and her best friend, this is really exciting. What's your expression? Xiao Jiao shouted. You still dare to say that you didn't have any idea of Sister Wei? Now it's been exposed. Li Jie came back to his senses and looked at her smug look. He was such a serious person, but he was led astray by her. Kneel down. This little Jiao didn't have a roof over his head for 3 days. Xiao Jiao glanced at him sideways. Why, you got angry again because I said it right. I won't kneel down, what can you do to me? After saying that, she knelt on the carpet numbly. This flip is too fast. Li Jie couldn't help being amused by her. It was so interesting to have such a girlfriend. However, even if she relents, he will not let her go. She loves to use her words so much, she must be taught a profound lesson. In the blink of an eye, the interns have been interning at Kudong Group for more than a week. Early on the morning of the 6th, He Zhigang came to the company as usual, only to find that He Lu and Lu Ji had already arrived. The two gathered with another male colleague and discussed something heatedly. Unlike the mediocre He Zhigang and Lu Ji, the sexy and beautiful He Lu is highly valued by Manager Wu and popular with the male colleagues in the office. As long as there is an opportunity to have dinner with clients, Manager Wu will definitely take her with him. He Lu also behaves very well at the wine table. She is more open-minded and can liven up the atmosphere. She is a bit of a social butterfly. Brother Gang, you're here. Seeing He Zhigang come in, Lu Ji said hello with a smile. What are you talking about? He Zhigang glanced at them. He seemed to have heard them mention Li Jie just now. We're talking about the Forbes rankings. Forbes rankings. He Zhigang had heard of this list. It seemed to be a rich list. He didn't understand what it had to do with them. Another male colleague said, We, Mr. Li, are on the list, and our ranking is not low. His tone revealed pride, and he looked proud. In fact, as early as October 13, when the Huron Rich list was announced, Li Jie was on the list. The list estimates his worth at 1 billion, ranking tied for 935th with the 76ers. The title of the top 1,000 richest people in the country sounds bluffing, but most people will only pay attention to who is in the top 100, who are in the top 10, and who is the richest person on the list. Who will pay attention to who is the last 100? Therefore, even if Li Jie was on the list, he did not attract much attention. But the Forbes domestic rich list released yesterday is different. The list values Li Jie's net worth at 3.6 billion. There are a total of 400 people on this list, and he is ranked 199th, within 200th place. More importantly, he is the youngest rich man on the list, only 22 years old. Most of the rich people on the list are in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. Even those in their 30s are considered young. There are only 3 people in their 20s, including Li Jie. But the other 2 people all inherited their property. This incident caused a sensation among the country's wealthy circles. In fact, wealthy people in China don't take rich lists like Forbes and Hurun very seriously. There are too many invisible rich people in China, and those on the list are only visible. Besides, the statistics of this kind of rich list are not accurate, and the authenticity is open to question. After all, it is impossible for the rich people on the list to disclose their net worth to the outside world. But this time it was too exaggerated. At the age of 22, he was worth 3.6 billion, and his wealth was not inherited. It is really unbelievable. If Kudong Group wants to be valued, it must be more than 1 billion. The valuation on the Hurun rich list is obviously low, but 3.6 billion is too exaggerated. Isn't this just buying a list? In the face of media doubts, Forbes responded that this was a data obtained through detailed investigation and there was nothing wrong with it, and it did not admit that the list was wrong. 3.6 billion? The top 200 richest people in China? After hearing this, He Zhigang was also in disbelief. Everyone in the school guessed that Li Jie was worth 5.6 billion, or 7.8 billion. After all, the scale of Kudong Group was there. But 3.6 billion, how is this possible? Li Jie has only been starting his business for 2 years. Could it be that he can earn 150 million in 1 month? This list is too nonsense. At this time Lu Ji said, "Brother Gang, Lulu, you two are Mr. Li's classmates. You should have been in contact with him, right? What kind of person is Mr. Li?" He Lu smiled and said, "I only met Mr. Li a few times during my freshman year. He had just started his business at that time. He looks different from ordinary boys. He is mature and stable, very talented, and has a good personality." Another male colleague joked, "Lulu, you were optimistic about Mr. Li back then. Why didn't you get together with him? Otherwise, wouldn't you be the boss's wife of the company now?" The employees also vaguely heard about the affairs of the big boss Li Jie. Everyone recognizes the proprietress Yao Qiao, as well as Secretary Lu and Secretary Shen. He Lu smiled self-deprecatingly, "I like Mr. Li, but Mr. Li doesn't like me." She was quite interested in Li Zhejian at first and wanted to have more contact with him. Even though she already had a boyfriend at the time, her boyfriend was still Li Jie's roommate. It's a pity that Li Jie has no interest in her. No way. "Lulu, you are so beautiful, why don't Mr. Li look down on you?" Lu Ji said flatteringly. He is somewhat interested in He Lu. He Lu glanced at him and said, "Am I beautiful? I'm just okay." "You've never seen someone really beautiful." The one she admired the most was Zhou Ziyu, who was so accurate in judging people and so decisive in his attacks, and he managed to snatch Li Jie away. Thinking about Li Jie's net worth of 3.6 billion, she was really envious of him. Although she was more optimistic about Li Jie at first, she never expected that he could achieve what he is today. Otherwise, even if the chance is slim, she will still insist on giving it a try. How beautiful can it be, Lu Ji said with some disbelief. He had also met Secretary Lu and felt that He Lu was no worse than him. Girls like He Lu, who have big breasts, big hips, and a full sense of mature womanhood, are more attractive than Lu Kaiu in the eyes of some boys. How beautiful! He Lu is also quite confident about her appearance and figure, especially her figure. She considers herself to be no worse than Xiao Jiao, Lu Kaiu, and the others. Especially Xiao Jiao, she really doesn't understand why Li Jie likes airports. But facing Zhou Ziyu, she really felt ashamed. He Lu looked at his Gang. Brother Gang has also seen that girl. You can ask him. That's right, she added as if she remembered something, you don't know yet, right? Brother Gang is Mr. Li's roommate. Lu Ji and the other male colleague were surprised when they heard this. Brother Gang, are you Mr. Li's roommate? Lu Ji said half complainingly and half jokingly, you hide it well enough. You have such a strong relationship, but you don't let it out at all. Another male colleague looked at his Gang with envy. You are roommates with the big boss of the group. With this relationship, are you worried that you won't get a chance for promotion? His Gang glanced at He Lu and was very disgusted with him. After being taught a lesson by Zhang Yu, he felt disgusted with a tea-smelling girl like He Lu. What are you talking about when you get together? Ding Li, dressed beautifully, walked in from outside. She was carrying an exquisite small leather bag, a bag of steamed buns and milk. Sister Ding, you're here, He Lu and Lu Ji greeted her one after another. Ding Li is a native of Shanghai. It is said that her family has some background, so manager Wu has to give her face. When she came to work in the company, what she valued was not the salary, but to find something to do. Ding Li cast her eyes on his Gang, with a smile on her face, Xiao Gang, you haven't had breakfast, right? I brought you one by the way. As she spoke, she handed over the Xiaolong bao and milk in her hand. Sister Ding, no need, I've eaten today. His Gang declined quickly. After eating, eat one more portion. Eat more to have the strength to work. Ding Li forced the steamed dumplings and milk into his hand. He Lu and Lu Ji looked at the scene with strange expressions in their eyes. His Gang looked at the Xiaolong bao and milk in his hand, feeling quite helpless. He really doesn't want to eat soft food anymore. This Sister Ding was a little too kind to him. She sent him home, invited him to dinner, brought him breakfast, etc. His Gang had doubts about whether Ding Li was interested in him. But it's impossible to think about it. The other party's conditions are so good, how could he fall in love with him? Not to mention there is a 5-year age difference between the two. Maybe it was just like the other person said, he regarded him as a younger brother. His Gang planned to wait until his salary was paid next month, so he also treated Ding Li to a meal as a thank you. The last time he and Ding Li went to dinner together, they rushed to pay the bill first, but there was not enough money. When the waiter said that the total was 560 yuan, yours was 400 yuan, and there was still a difference of 160 yuan, he felt extremely embarrassed for a moment. How could a simple meal be so expensive? His Gang made up his mind to touch his pocket, but he knew that there were only a few dozen yuan in change left in his pocket, which was definitely not enough. Ding Li answered the call for him, smiled, took out her bank card and said, "Don't bother, just swipe my card." After this incident, his Gang finally realized how important money is to men. This favor must be repaid. His Gang is not someone who is willing to take advantage of women. The news that Li Jie ranked among the top 200 richest people, with a net worth of 3.6 billion, quickly spread within the group. Employees are discussing this matter, and most regular employees feel proud and honored. Having such a boss on the top list proves that the company has more prospects and their development is more secure. Zhang Qian, Zhang Yu, Huo Lily, Cao Xiaoqian, Song Ziona, Yang Hao and other interns were shocked and in disbelief. They are more familiar with and understand Li Jie, so they understand more and more how incredible it is to achieve this point in 2 years. Bangkok, Thailand, on the filming set of The Witch. A science fiction film like The Witch that involves human experimentation must not be set in China. Considering the cost of filming, the crew chose Bangkok as the filming location. After 3 or 4 months of shooting, the film is about to be completed. The big fight scenes have been shot, and there are only some reshoots left, which was relatively easy to shoot. This movie was really hard for Luan Xiaolin. It was the first time for her to shoot such an action scene, and she had no martial arts foundation, so it was extremely difficult to shoot. If the movements are not up to par, they can only be practiced repeatedly and hard, and bumps and injuries are commonplace. However, after filming an action drama, Luan Xiaolin has indeed grown a lot. After taking a scene of her going shopping with her classmate, Zhao Yuhuan, Luan Xiaolin returned to the rest area to rest. Zhao Yuhuan also participated in this movie, playing the role of Luan Xiaolin's best friend and classmate. She is considered the second female lead, but she doesn't have many roles. As soon as Luan Xiaolin sat down on the rest chair, her assistant Zheng Hui came over. "What's the matter?" She noticed Zheng Hui's mysterious look. Obviously something was wrong. "Sister Xiaolin, is Mr. Li on the list?" Zheng Hui said with a smile. As Luan Xiaolin's assistant, she could vaguely sense that the relationship between Luan Xiaolin and the big boss was unusual. "I really didn't want to be a warm man when I was reborn." Author, Li Yuanzhe. Chapter 391. On what list? Luan Xiaolin was confused. On the Forbes rich list, Mr. Li is worth 3.6 billion, ranking 199th. He is also the youngest rich man on the list, Zheng Hui said with pride in his tone. These staff members all have work groups. If there is any trouble in the group, they will soon know about it. Luan Xiaolin was stunned when she heard this. When she came to her senses, she quickly asked, "Is it true or not?" "Of course it's true," Zheng Hui assured. "If you don't believe it, look, it's all on the news," she said and handed the phone to Luan Xiaolin. Luan Xiaolin took the phone and looked at it. It was news from the New Lang Portal website. The 2009 Forbes Rich list was released, and the youngest person on the list was only 22 years old. Looking at the news content, she couldn't help but feel excited. Luan Xiaolin knew that Li Jie was very rich and was worth more than 1 billion. But I didn't expect him to be so rich. At the age of 22, he is worth 3.6 billion and ranks among the top 200 richest people. Following a man like Li Jie, even as a lover, she felt indescribably proud. Moreover, Li Jie is only 22 years old now and has already achieved so much. He may not be able to become a top rich man or even the richest man in the future. "Sister Xiaolin, are you very happy?" Assistant Zheng Hui asked with a smile. Luan Xiaolin returned the phone to her, smiled and said, "Mr. Li is on the rich list. Of course I am happy for him, aren't you too?" Zheng Hui looked at her and curled her lips inwardly. Just pretend. She could see it just now, the other person's face was full of uncontrollable joy. Not far away, Zhao Yuhuan was also talking to his assistant about this matter. When she learned from her assistant that Li Jie was among the top 200 richest people this year with a net worth of 3.6 billion, she was also shocked. Zhao Yuhuan couldn't help but think of the failed sacrifice before. She asked many people to help her, and finally got Li Jie's personal mobile phone number. Then he inquired about Li Jie's schedule, picked a suitable time, and booked a room in a hotel near the company. After taking a shower and dressing up beautifully, Zhao Yuhuan sent the room number to Li Jie. After sending the text message, she waited expectantly and anxiously for the other party to come over. As a result, after waiting for more than an hour, no one came, only a reply text message. "Work hard and don't think too much. I don't care if there are any messes in other companies, but there is absolutely no mess in my company. Looking at the righteous text message, if she hadn't seen Nini getting off Li Zhe's car with her own eyes, she might have actually believed it. Zhao Yuhuan vaguely guessed why Li Zhe didn't come. He probably didn't like her. If it were Wang Zhaining, he would definitely come. Zhao Yuhuan put her thoughts back and took a small mirror from her small cosmetic bag to take a look. She felt that she was not bad looking, sweet and cute. Didn't you say that Li Zhe likes the sweet and cute type the most? How about finding a chance to try again? In the afternoon, another piece of information was to be sent to the president's office, and He Zhigang rushed to take over the task. Xiao Gang, Ding Li stopped him. Sister Ding, what can you do? He Zhigang stopped. Ding Li had a smile on her face. I found that you particularly like to go to the president's office. Is there any reason? He Ji has been here for more than a week and has already made 3 or 4 trips to the president's office. He Lu on the side glanced at He Zhigang and then at Ding Li, feeling very interesting. She smiled and added, that's because there is someone in the CEO's office that he likes. Ding Li's expression was a little unnatural after hearing this, but she soon returned to smiling. Oh, who is it? That's Secretary Huo, He Lu said. That Secretary Huo who just joined the job. A look of surprise appeared on Ding Li's face. It's no wonder, Secretary Huo is a very good girl, otherwise she wouldn't be able to become our Mr. Li's personal secretary. Just like Secretary Lu and Secretary Shen before. Xiao Gang, you really have a good sense. When He Zhigang heard this, he felt very uncomfortable in his heart. He smiled reluctantly and said, it's nothing, how can I be worthy of him? Looking at this scene, a playful look flashed across He Lu's face, and she felt it was getting more and more interesting. After coming out of the office with the information, He Zhigang took the elevator upstairs and arrived at the president's office. However, I saw a piece of paper posted on the door of the office, reminding me that the president's office had moved to another location. He Zhigang followed the instructions on the paper and came to the new president's office. After knocking on the door and walking in, he found that the new office was much larger than the previous one, with only hundreds of square meters outside. There were only 2 girls in the office, which seemed a bit empty. One is the secretarial supervisor Zheng Shan, and the other is Lu Ji's classmate and reception specialist Zhang Wenjun. Lu Kaiu, Huo Menjian, and Bai Wei are not here. Zhang Wenjun glanced at He Zhigang coldly and looked away. Zheng Shan stood up, smiled and said to him, are you here to see Secretary Huo again? He Zhigang went here 3 or 4 times a week, and he always stared at Huo Menjian when he came. They couldn't tell that he was interested in Huo Menjian. He Zhigang was a little embarrassed by the joke. No, I'm here to help our supervisor deliver information. Isn't Director Lu here? Director Lu in his mouth refers to Lu Kaiu. Director Lu has gone to the finance department. Zheng Shan said and took the information from He Zhigang. After delivering the information, He Zhigang turned around and was about to leave, but he couldn't help but ask, what did Secretary Huo do? You still said you weren't here to see Secretary Huo, Zheng Shan teased him again. Secretary Huo went to the capital on a business trip with Mr. Li. Going on a business trip with Li Zhe? He Zhigang felt nervous after hearing this, and quickly asked, Mr. Li is on a business trip. When did it happen? Who is going with him? Zheng Shan glanced at He Zhigang and felt that the other person was a little abrupt. And in turn was not qualified to ask about the CEO's schedule, but considering that the other party was Mr. Li's roommate, she still said so. Mr. Li left yesterday, and Secretary Huo was accompanying him. But before she could say anything, the phone on her desk rang. Wait a minute, I'll take a call first. As she spoke, she picked up the phone. Secretary Huo was accompanying him. This was the only sentence left in He Zhigang's mind. As expected, Li Zhe took action against Huo Menjian, and he couldn't wait any longer. When the boss and his secretary go on a business trip together, What will happen to a man and a woman alone? Do you need to guess? They left yesterday. Maybe last night, what was supposed to happen had already happened. When he thought of Huo Menjian being pinned down by Li Jie, His Higang felt a fire in his heart, feeling indescribably angry and uncomfortable. He also knew that the possibility of him and Huo Menjian was unlikely, but he didn't want to see her being raped by someone else. Besides, that person was still his buddy. After glancing at Zheng Shan, who was still answering the phone, he turned and left the office. Not long after Ji left, Zheng Shan finished answering the phone. She put down the phone and glanced in the direction of the door. In fact, before she finished speaking, Secretary Huo and Secretary Bai were accompanying her. Zhang Wenjun smiled disdainfully, with a hint of sarcasm in his tone. This His Higang really has no self-awareness, and he still cares about Secretary Huo. He doesn't even know what he is worthy of. Zheng Shan smiled after hearing this and said nothing. Although she teased His Higang, it was just a joke. In her heart, she also felt that he and Huo Menjian were not a good match. After returning from the CEO's office, His Higang was absent-minded all afternoon, sitting at his desk and looking at the computer in trance. When he thought of Huo Menjian being bullied by Li Jie, he felt extremely uncomfortable. This is also the mentality of ordinary people. Seeing the girl they like being harmed by a scumbag, they can't do anything and can only be heartbroken and in pain. If you are not in the right state, you will naturally not be able to do your job well. A simple statistical form, but His Higang made a lot of mistakes. Director Wu, who was always very talkative, became unusually angry and called him out to talk. After finally getting off work, His Higang walked absent-mindedly towards the bus stop after saying goodbye to Lu Ji. Diddy, suddenly a whistle sounded nearby. Hearing the whistle, His Higang subconsciously thought of Huo Menjian. But he knew it couldn't be Huo Menjian, it could only be. Thinking this, His Higang turned around and saw, as expected, it was Ding Li. Sister Ding. Ding Li smiled and said to him, "Get in the car." Sister Ding, there's really no need. I can just take the bus alone. His Higang firmly refused. He already knew that Ding Li and he were not on the same path at all, and he could no longer accept the other party's favor. Come up. I won't send you back. Ding Li paused and then said, I know you are in a bad mood, so I will take you somewhere to relax. No need, His Higang insisted. He doesn't want to go anywhere now, he just wants to be alone. Ding Li tried to persuade her a few more times, but no matter what she said, His Higang refused to get in the car and continued walking alone. After driving to catch up with him again, Ding Li parked the car on the side of the road, opened the door and got out, came to him, grabbed his arm, "Get in the car with me." His Higang wanted to refuse, but Ding Li glared at him, "If you dare to get rid of me, I won't have a brother like you." Seeing that Ding Li was angry, His Higang's attitude softened immediately and he was pulled into the car by her. More than 20 minutes later, the silver BMW 325i stopped at the door of a bar with avant-garde decoration. After getting off the car, His Higang looked at the bar and said, "You just brought me to the bar to drink." Ding Li glanced at him and smiled, "Coming to the bar is not just about drinking." At noon on November 5th, Li Jie, together with Bai Wei, Huo Menjian, and bodyguard Ruan Jing, boarded a plane to the capital. Originally, he planned to ask Xiao Qiao to go with him, but she refused. He said that he wanted to create opportunities for him and Bai Wei, and asked him to take advantage of them. By the way, she said this, in bed. Your girlfriend says she wants you to chase her best friend. How should you respond? It's quite a rush to wait online. Li Jiejin was a little unsure of Xiao Qiao's thoughts. She seemed not to be testing, but really wanted to push Bai Wei to him. Is it true that a best friend is so good that even a boyfriend can share her with her? You just let me out without asking for my opinion, was his answer. What's your opinion, Xiao Jiao glanced at him sideways. Sister Wei is a great beauty, are you still unhappy? I don't know you yet, Shivei. Xiao Jiao, what are you talking about? Li Jie stared at her and said. This Xiao Jiao still dares to slander him, so it seems that the penalty for kneeling is less. Kneel down. Husband, I was wrong, please forgive me, Xiao Jiao quickly begged for mercy. She didn't want to be punished to kneel again. The lesson she learned was too profound. I will spare you this time. If you do it again, you will be punished twice, Li Jie warned her. Xiao Jiao nodded repeatedly, raised 3 fingers and swore, Husband, I promise never to call you bitter again, even though you are indeed. Seeing that Li Jie's gaze was getting more and more dangerous, she shut up again. This Xiao Jiao is so naughty. Li Jie shook his head funnily in his heart. Okay, stop mentioning Bai Wei all the time. I really have no idea about her. To be honest, it's not that he has no thoughts about Bai Wei at all. There is nothing to say about Bai Wei's figure and appearance. In addition, she is Xiao Jiao's best friend, which is indeed quite exciting. But he could tell that Bai Wei really had no idea about him at all. Husband, are you really not interested in Sister Wei? Xiao Jiao emphasized a certain word. After a pause, she added, Sister Wei is C+. This Xiao Jiao really opens his mouth and drives. Still C+, is he such a vulgar person? She was so ordinary, didn't he dislike her? Snapped. Ah, Xiao Jiao screamed in pain. Why are you hitting me again? She rubbed her butt. What are you thinking, why do you always push Bai Wei to me? Li Jie asked, staring at her. Xiao Jiao glanced at him and her expression became serious. Husband, you should have noticed that Sister Wei has some problems in her heart and is very resistant to boys. She doesn't want to find a boyfriend, get married, and want to live alone for the rest of her life. How can this be done? Isn't this widowhood? It would be so pitiful if you didn't even know what it's like to be a man for the rest of your life. Li Jie was stunned when he heard this. This Xiao Jiao was indeed a timid girl. She could confuse everything. However, it would be too wasteful for a beautiful woman like Bai Wei to spend her whole life alone. This guy Li Jie also said that Xiao Jiao can think wrong about anything, but he is not the same. Xiao Jiao continued, I have thought about introducing a boyfriend to Sister Wei and letting her have a chat, but I am afraid that she will meet a scumbag. After all, there are too many scumbags. As she said that, she glanced at him. Li Jie was suddenly a little dissatisfied. What did this Xiao Jiao mean? He's not a scumbag. He is just a little more philanthropic. But he is rich and wants to take care of a few more beautiful girls and save them from the hardships of life. Is this wrong? If she gets hurt emotionally again, Sister Wei will be even more repelled by men. After much thought, I think it's cheaper for you. Xiao Jiao paused and said, besides, if Sister Wei also follows you, I can stay with her forever. Can I be with her forever? Why does this sound so wrong? Jiao Bao, are you sure? Li Jie looked at her suspiciously. Could this be her real purpose? Then wouldn't he be? No. Husband, don't think too much. Xiao Jiao reacted quickly and immediately understood that he was thinking wrongly. I just regard Sister Wei as my biological sister. Sister? Li Jie couldn't help but think wrong again. Husband, what are you thinking about? Xiao Jiao noticed that his expression was wrong. It's nothing. Li Jie calmed his expression. Jiao Bao, do you want me to help Bai Wei treat her illness? Then are you willing? Xiao Jiao asked with a smile. Let me think about it. Li Jie was still a little hesitant. Think about it? Xiao Jiao was secretly amused. She could see that Li Jie was obviously tempted, but he was just pretending to be reserved. Scumbag. In addition to the superficial reasons, Xiao Jiao actually has selfish motives. She finally saw that Li Jie couldn't restrain himself. Rather than taking advantage of outsiders, it is better to take advantage of your own sisters. If Bai Wei also follows Li Jie, then she will have help. The sisters work together and advance and retreat together. If you don't believe it, they can't deal with that Joe Fox.